my stream stopped, which meant that this thing went a bit funky doodah.
Oh no, my chat broke, thanks to it. So now I need to reopen the stream chat.
Yes, that it'll have started a second one, sorry. I might just... So for anyone listening, I may just put this up as the whole video. It's the Tuesday Blunders and Bothwellians party, episode 21. The recap is fairly simple. Listen to our last shit. Everything that happened was crazy. It's great. It's amazing. They're in Borsin in the capital Lely, blah 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 blah. Hello.
Don't worry.
So, anyway, so who is rolling a perception against Varric's stealth?
A 19.
Okay.
But you know what I am, so just
And Arissa rolled a 4, but I assume that she has advantage because she was actually holding on to me when we left off last session.
Yeah, probably, yeah, I'm gonna say so. Unless she wants to be very distracted by her pretend child.
yeah.
Which would make sense as well.
My God.
Well, that
Some person scolded her. She cursed.
she is definitely distracted by her fake 4-year-old child at this point.
I'm just so goddamn adorable right now.
I have so many such high stealth that I could technically do a dance and still be hidden.
I encourage you to do that.
Goes into stealth mode now. He just does like a little funny jig and then disappears.
I encourage this.
Oh shit! No. I agree that if I dance, Arissa should notice because Doric sense.
You feel the beginnings of a musical.
Oh god, no, please, no. No musicals.
Yes, we're not
It's like a follow, you just dance around and you activate a fucking stealth board.
Revenge, it's gonna be mine.
Beautiful.
This makes me very worried.
So,
Rosie,
did
Rosie,
anyone
can I say
succeed in that?
your-
Or basically, I don't think anyone spotted where you've gone, Varric, to be honest. So you can just disappear.
Yeah.
And yes, you can private message me and let me know what to do.
Not even me?
Well, you did very well on your checking, but his stealth was ridiculously high. I think what you can do is you can sense where he is, so you don't need to, like, desperately look out and follow him. So, you're comfortable. You're comfortable. You're okay. You haven't lost him yet.
Okay.
Magic.
Okay.
That probably put more attention on the bird head as to where we're going.
So we're inside the tavern now?
We're heading to it.
Okay. So okay.
Well, did you know where you were going?
Kalisha told us where the tavern was.
Excellent. Okay. In which case, yes, you can head on through the town. The big city, rather. It's a city now. I'm so used to you being in towns, man.
Upgrade, guys.
Okay, hang on.
I so hope that this works. I'm totally not planning. I have totally not spent the last week looking up stuff and possibilities for me.
He totally has. Also,
It's gonna be out of character for you not to be fucking working up something or being weird or
I would
something
also
going.
just like to point out, Varric, that yes, you can do that. I've replied. However, there is nothing you can look up that is going that's going to have the answer to anything. Because it's something I made up.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but I know, but like I've mostly been thinking about options and preparing torture methods and such for what's gonna happen in a bit.
No, that's fine.
But
That's
for
absolutely
now,
fine.
Rosie, you can't believe what we want to torture people.
You spent
The past week fucking looking at ways to do it.
Meantime, the rest of you walk towards where you have been told this tavern is. The Baywatch Tavern is right by the castle, which stands on the cliff looking over the sea. As you get closer, it's quite a nice street. It's not a dodgy tavern. It's not very rich, it's not very poor, it's just a little bit out of the way. It is standing on the very edge of the cliff. Noted, Varric, I'll reply to you in a second. It's standing on the very edge of the cliff near the castle, with a beautiful view out over the ocean. However, it's built on a part of the cliff that is starting to fall away, and a lot of the back half of the tavern is now held up by wooden structures that are essentially pinning it and holding it out over the edge of the cliff.
Rosie, afterwards I want to join up with the group again.
Okay. Alright. As in type of person, or that person specifically, Varric?
Specifically.
Okay. The Theritas.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Could you please make me a perception check?
Oh shit, no.
Yeah, you didn't think this through, did you, Hangry Elf?
I did, sorta, but I also, enjoy this. Even if it means Varric gets beaten up. Fuck. So he'll know it happens, but, will it still happen?
Okay.
Oh, please.
Alright. Could both of you please make me a dexterity check?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So the Theritas as well.
That's 17 plus my dex.
Straight dex check.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you didn't just go from nat 20 to a 1, did you? Hashtag math. Alright.
No. It's just a straight 10 because I get no bonuses.
Alright, so what happens is this. Varric, you disappeared. You took your scarf. You wrapped a certain item up in it. You used the scarf to pull something out. And you snuck up ding, 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 behind the flamey tiefling. And the Theritas, you feel someone breathing near your neck with your nat 20. You whip around and you see Varric holding his scarf in his hand and brandishing what looks like a playing card, but he's holding it with the scarf around it. And he's trying to dink it at you. As you lift up your hand as if to say, whoa! He manages to dink you on the forehead with the card.
You sadistic shit.
Varric, can you roll me a d20?
Yeah, of course. 4.
Okay.
We're watching this happen, just to be sure.
You guys have probably
You
noticed
probably
this now,
noticed
because
it.
Theritas will have said something.
Also, Vitalitas was walking in front of them, showing them the way to the tavern, and he suddenly turned around.
Okay.
Doesn't the card mark or the person that pulled it? Not for the person that seized it?
He didn't ask me that. He just tried to get around it.
I tried to find a workaround by pulling it with a thing and then having someone else touch it, because I thought that touching it would be the trigger, not seeing it.
It depends. Okay, Varric.
Yes?
Because Theritas is the first person you look at, you feel an instant loyalty towards him. You see him as someone you would blindly swear your allegiance to, and I will let you know when this effect is over. Anything Vetheritas says, you're going to agree with. Anything he wants to do, you're going to go along with.
Awesome.
Oh, geez.
You know what? I think I almost like this over what I hoped.
It's silver.
Because it's way more fun when their plans harm me.
Well, what did he
There's a reason.
Death card.
Vitertus is like, they're really confused. It's like, Varric, what the hell did you just try to do?
A magic trick.
What kind of magic trick?
It's a card trick that I learned inside of the magic, inside of the caravan of the dude that asked me and Rita to have a chat. I mean, you saw him walking out, right? He taught us a trick and then he left.
Your friend seems very dazed. Is he okay?
Where did you get that card from?
Well, it's one of his trick cards. They are marked so that I know which card it is. I was going to show you the card, shuffle the deck, and then find the card without looking through the deck.
Can you show me the deck?
Can I do something to realize it's a spell? That he's under a spell? Like when he rolls something?
But it's not a spell. It's not a spell if it's an effect from a magical item. But yeah, you can see the deck, and I just show him the scarf and then put it back again.
Do I see him pull up from the same pouch that...
It's not from the same pouch.
Okay, you have the whole deck out.
Yeah.
Yeah, Varric has his deck out.
That sounds so bad right now.
Alright, yeah.
Well, considering where it was before.
How he starts to echo.
So yeah, Varric shows you. It looks like a dark set of playing cards. They're in like a little pack. They're quite long. They're longer than a regular set of playing cards. But dark, sort of grey black colour.
Barry, can I have a good look at that deck? And I hold my hand out.
Because I'm not loyal to you. Yeah, of course you can. Here. And I hand him the deck, but without touching it, with my scarf. And I pull my scarf back from it, because I want my scarf back. As if that's the intention.
And I'm going to Divine Sense again.
Wait, so you're first divine sensing and not first actually checking out the cards?
Well, there was a reason that I asked for the deck and why Divine Sense again.
They are in a pack, so yeah, you can hold the pack fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Your divine sense picks up. It's not an evil being. It's not a good being. There is.
Oh, it's a being?
There's mighty power there, but it's not a physical being. There is some good, some potentially bad, but...
Alright, I'm going to be very confused now and just...
Can I have it back if I promise not to use it against any of you guys?
You can.
I'm still trying to figure out what it does exactly, but apparently it's a magic trick. And I wanted to try what it does, so I experiment, but, I'll ask permission next time I do it, okay?
Make sure you do, and I'm going to give it back now.
Yay! I wrap it in, the scarf that it came with and put it back in the belt pouch that's on my hip.
And Varric, stay where I can see you.
Okay, that's a good idea. And I'll just skip along with the group, next to Hannah. I'll hop over to Hannah again, because...
Can I realize that he's under something? He's now not completely himself.
To be fair, I think anyone could realize that Varric is not behaving normal when he's this.
At the moment...
Easy going with Verti.
At the moment, what you can see is that he is not nicer to someone who you thought he wouldn't necessarily be quite so friendly with. He seems a little off. He doesn't seem charmed or anything.
Okay.
Well, now that I know where he is, I'm just going to keep walking towards the tavern.
I'll follow along.
Confused as hell.
I'll follow along.
And I'll follow you along.
Hardy Conga line.
Hey.
Okay, so you guys head off and you see this tavern. It says Baywatch hanging over the door in sort of yellow and red spindly writing, and yeah, it's on the very edge of a cliff. Part of it has started to collapse down into the sea. It's right by the castle, beautiful view out over the ocean, but the back part of the tavern itself is held up by wooden structures against the cliff so that it stays upright. And sure you can. Marek, if it's that important to you to put an E on the sign, E on the sign, then sure.
Yay, vandalism.
Yeah, kind of classy resort. Cannot wait for the cars to see that.
Did I think before he does it and when he realizes he wants to get already have it get out and it rid of him?
Sure.
Okay, that happened. Here you go.
Thank you.
Alright, so Varric, to get up to the sign, you're going to have to climb.
Ooh, yay.
So can you make me a acrobatics check?
Exactly, because you wanted to know where I was. I'm climbing this thing for a bit.
Okay.
Shit, that one.
Oh my god. Does Abe help him with the steps?
You can help him if you want, yeah.
Okay, I was Abe on him to see if he can actually climb without hurting himself. So, 20? Or is it not necessary? Not necessary.
With your aid, does that mean that you roll and you add it, or does he get advantage?
He gets advantage.
Okay. Cool, Varric, roll it again.
Shit, now I need to find a D20 that actually is nice to me. Yeah, this one is sort of nice. Acrobatics, you said, right?
Mm-hmm.
16.
Alright, with that, you can shimmy on up there, hang on to the sign with one hand, and paint a babe on the sign, and then you can shimmy on down again.
Yeah.
And we're all watching this happen, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'll giggle. Like, actual, like, proud of myself giggle that I came up with that pun. Kind of giggle.
I find it shocking. Varric knows what a babe is.
Hey, Varric knows it is, huh?
I'm still clapping my hands at how fun this is. Like, stop the clapping by looking at it.
Yeah, exactly, redo. Yeah.
Yes.
I'm just gonna look at everyone in the company going, well, apparently we're bringing it to the tavern anyway, so may as well rename it.
Okay.
I like how the paladin actually agrees with this without doubt.
Alright.
That's not lawful.
Yeah.
So, are you guys heading on inside then to the newly named Babe Watch?
Yeah, I'm just gonna stride in first.
You know, if you save up enough money, you can probably change the name and take it over.
We should be tavern owners for the rest of this campaign. And just sound like, oh, we should like wait until a group of adventurers enters our tavern and just give them the mission.
Oh god, I'm like...
Delegation.
I was meat to that.
I was meat to that time.
I only have like,
Ask for and Pam when it comes to the counter.
who are we asking for?
And Pam.
And Pam. And Pam.
Okay.
No, not in game. He's being a
I know,
tonkler.
know.
You're not even there. Alright.
Well, I'm just gonna look around the tavern now that I've walked into it.
Alright, can everyone roll me a perception check as you step through the door, please?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Already got it.
It took a while before I got it because I couldn't hear it correctly. So when you wrote it down, it made more sense.
Arissa, you are very distracted by your mothery role, and you're getting very into it. The rest of you, as you step through the door, you hear some shouting from further down the street. It seems to have been started because you approached the tavern, and you can hear people, and you can hear things like "fuck the companions" and "avoid Baywatch" and "shit tavern" and "monsters, children, fuck 'em, fuck the companions," and then the door shuts behind you, and you find yourselves inside the tavern known as Baywatch. It's quite warm. It's got one big set of windows which look out over the bay, and you can see a little bit of the castle, and you can see out over the sea quite far off into the horizon. You can see down over the cliffs. There's some warm fires on either side of the room, a long bar, and there are armchairs and tables, and it's all quite cosy. There's an upstairs as well. There's 2 spiral staircases on either side of the bar that go up. There's a balcony over the top, and you can see there's some rooms further up there as well. And then behind the bar, it looks like there's some kitchens and things too. Behind the bar, there is an older woman. She is currently doing some cleaning. She looks a little bit tottering, elderly human female. On the top, sort of where the balcony is on the top, you can see some very beautiful half-elven women. They're wearing long lavender dresses that are made of almost sheer material, and they've all got very long hair done in a similar sort of style, and they're talking quietly amongst themselves. They give you a glance as you walk in the door, and then they go back to their conversations. There's a few other people sitting in here, not a great deal of people, a few male humans dotted about.
I high-five Vicky. And then, do I recognize any of the half-elves that are sitting there?
No, you do not.
Not even after being completely sober during that party?
No, you don't. They do, those of you who have any memories whatsoever of the party from all those months ago, they are wearing similar clothes, and these look like they may also be members of the companions. Again, they're all half-elven, all beautiful women, the lavender-coloured robes. They remind you, those of you who have any memories of that party, you would recognise these people as companions, yes.
Ooh. In that case, could I start walking towards them?
Sure, you can go up the spiral staircases beside the bar if you want to get up to their level.
Yeah, and then I'll just...
Yeah?
Okay.
Okay, so...
I'm going to look around for Kalosia.
And I remove my hood so people can see, and people can finally see my elf ears, for those who aren't sure if I was human or not.
Okay. Alright, so you two head up one of the spiral staircases to go up towards the half-elves. The Theritas, you're going to have a look around for Kalosia. You can't see him at the moment. There's only a few people, and they're all very human, very male. Does anybody else want to do anything particular, or are you just going to sort of stand and wait for the others to do what they're doing?
I blink and look down at Vicky. Persky? It's I never know what to call you. Curiosity, okay. In curiosity. That's why she flicked my ears.
Oh no, I just like looked at them.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I heard clocking. Thought it was touching. Okay.
Clocks just means like I've noticed that you've got pointy ears.
Yeah, she has
Okay, I told you to be in not in a certain half elves.
Alright, so Varric, followed by Hannibal, you've gone up the spiral staircase. There's a corridor, and there's lots of rooms going off it. All the doors are shut. The doors have different numbers on them, and the corridor curves around at the edge as well, down the far side. And you can see there is a group of 4 or 5 half-elven companions, a couple of them leaning on the banister, a couple of them leaning on the wall. No, there are no red lights above the doors.
Must be in the same actually.
Is there a free table for the rest of us to nick, or are they all occupied?
Yes, there's definitely
You should not steal a table. I mean, not stealing food is okay, you can hide that, but a table is not going to fit in your pocket.
I'm just going to take the nearest table and plunk myself down.
What did I just say about stealing it? Okay, I'm going to walk up to the companions and actually start talking to them.
Alright.
Are they threatening in any way?
Are they what?
Are they threatening in any way? Like their whole body?
They don't seem to be. No, they seem very beautiful and very accommodating at the moment.
What?
They just seem very beautiful. They don't seem to be armed.
I'm highly debating if I should wait till Eric is drunk so that I can use cheesy pickup lines. But
Did people see the ones I put on the website? I put a huge list of pickup lines. Because someone asked for reasons. Like, huge list. I had so much fun.
That sounds amazing.
You should go check it out, seriously. I loved I found so many Dungeons and Dragons ones. I wish I could have saved them.
Oh yeah, the Dungeons and Dragons pickup lines are the best. Hey baby, what's your AC? Because I want to hit that, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Honestly, like, the classic is still, you're so hot, even Naruto can't believe it. That's a classic anime one.
So,
Do you have Harry Potter? That's also works.
yeah, I have like a shit ton of Harry Potter pickup
Oh,
lines.
there's so many.
So Varric, what do you want to say to the beautiful ladies?
But right now, do they respond if I walk up to them? Like, do they respond at all?
They didn't say anything. They do acknowledge you. They look over at you. They're all very tall and very beautiful. Similar height to you. Some of them taller. They look and they smile. They sort of seem to be waiting for you to say anything.
No will for the baby.
It's birthday.
Yes, they smile at you as well. They notice you behind him. So Varric, what do you want to say?
I couldn't help but notice that you guys look sort of familiar, but not in a I've seen you guys before way. Are you perchance affiliated with a group that's also in out of game? Let me check the map real quick so that I remember the name.
Side. And also other
It was Stock.
There is Stock and Crowdside.
Did we meet any of the companions in Crowdside?
You met a couple of them at the party, and you attempted to talk to what you thought was some of them at the house, but it turned out to not be the companions there. It was some of the richer people in Stock who didn't want to speak to you.
But do you guys... I think I may have been at a party of a group that are affiliated with you guys. Could that be possible? It wasn't Stock.
Oh, we have companions all across this fair country. I'm certain you may have partied with the best of us if you've been in stock. I hear they have gatherings very often.
It was quite happening, especially since it got me jailed.
Oh, well, I'm afraid I can only apologise for that. Being thrown in dungeons and jails is not something we usually aim for at our parties, unless, of course, it is requested by the host, and then we set up our own Fetish Dungeon, as required.
Quick out of game thing here. Varric lived away from civilization for most of his life, for at least 90 years, I believe.
How did you hope?
Is it he'd not know what a fetish dungeon is, so he'd ask.
Yes, please do.
You mentioned a fetish dungeon? What is that?
Well, it is something we set up for some of our clients who enjoy the feeling of torturous abandon, and other such jaunts. Others find it quite dark and twisted, but we have a fair number of clients who enjoy the sensation, and so we set it up for them.
You mentioned torture. What kinds of torture?
Oh, anything you like. Some people like financial torture, where we quite literally pretend to rob gold from them while they can't do anything about it. Trampling torture, strangulation, suffocation, very different things. We also offer implementation, we offer gal on gal, boy on boy, a combination of the two, degrading, anything really.
Why would people want this? What could they possibly have to gain from all this?
Pleasure, darling. It is our business and it is our way. We find that some people who have very controlling lives, they like to lose control in their free time and quite enjoy it when others take their personal freedoms away from them. We do that. Only upon request, though. I would not recommend torturing someone who does not enjoy it. Unless, of course, they've been very bad.
Sure, Hannibal's not happy and she's kind of saying glare something? Glare. No, you're not torturing this dude, are you kidding me? It's for pleasure.
But how could one get pleasure from... I guess I just don't understand.
It is probably better that you don't.
But... oh well.
Stick to
Where's
simple
Rosie?
pleasures, Alf. I'm sure you can find something to appease you.
To appease me? I mean, what do you mean?
Everybody has their pleasure and their purpose. I'm sure, given time, you can find yours. Of course, if you wish to pay for a night of reckless abandon with one of our fair company, I'm sure we could do something to arrange that.
I think that's not a good idea yet.
Can I turn to them and ask them if they prefer other species, like any bestiality? Curiously.
We do not cater to that kind of crowd. However, we accept people of all races, creeds and backgrounds, and we do what we can to aid those who are seeking pleasure that normally they would not be able to find. However, we do have our limits.
I give a disappointed look at them, and then I look away again to look at the decor.
You know what? Talking about all this, I think I should try and find this again. I'll I might talk to you later.
Farewell, Hanson. I'm sure we'll see you soon.
If he's going away, I follow. Are you going down there? Back to the tavern? Okay, I follow him.
Going down is very contextual.
Okay, go down the stairs. Before I go, I just want to turn to them and go, if you ever manage to do it with dragons, please contact me. I want to. And then I go back to him.
I'll actually turn to Hannibal as we walk down the stairs and look at her with like big, confused eyes, going, Did she just call me handsome?
Oh yes, I do believe that's the term for appealing appearance. Unless...
I know that, but why would she say that?
Well, you are appealing. Into sake of formality of the face and chemistry. You are what would be considered appealing.
Now Varric is blushing.
Aww.
And then I walk back down the stairs and just go, hey, do you remember those guys that organised that party back in Stock?
I remember that name, Tree.
It's that lot. And I'll just like point at them, like blatantly, not subtle at all, just go, it's them. And they were weird and confusing and talked about torturing for fun and all kinds of things. And then when we walked away, she called me handsome and said that I would probably see her again, and now I'm confused.
I wish you were speaking of fetishes, as many humans seem to enjoy these kind of things. They were asking if you wanted to be pleasured sexually.
What? Why? Why would they do that? Isn't that like...
Because that's what they do, Varric. Okay.
Ooh, that's it.
Glenn, are you sitting down? Your head with us? Can I just call you Glenn? Your name is too long.
That's right. Welcome to Paris. I'm
suddenly very close to your face and I'm looking at your horn in serious interest.
The horn is making a horn.
Yeah.
Ooh, biscuits!
Yes. I will sit down and I'll just occasionally glance at... is that your horn or are you happy to see me? God damn it, this episode is too easy.
Do you have a reaction to this, Glenn?
The character is just going to look back, he's not going to pull back though.
I go, very peculiar. I don't think I've ever seen one of your kind before. That's rare for me.
DM, do I know exactly how rare my race is, especially since my beast got pummeled?
You know that you are on the decline. You know that particularly in Borsin, there's probably not many of you around here. You know that your numbers across the world were mostly in Travis, and so now you're down to your last thousands.
I know this, or are you talking to me?
The Theratas knows that.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna go, well, there's not exactly many of us left. Most of us were in Travis, and, well, most of Travis isn't there anymore.
Is this one of those moments where I don't have information?
This is something that you wouldn't know yet. From what you've started learning, you know the different countries' names, and you know a little bit about what's been going on, but you wouldn't know the extent of it yet.
Okay.
I found the theme song to this tavern.
Oh dear.
Oh, here we go. I look at you in a curious manner. Really? Then why haven't you found a maid to start reproducing yet?
It's because he's a filthy demon trying to steal stuff. Oh, wait, shit.
Before you get any more red,
Considering that my skin color is charcoal.
You are now Carnal Eclipse colored.
By the way, I'm doing all of this with a complete bored face. There's no blush whatsoever. This is normal.
This is just science, sir.
Totally serious question.
Now for a think. Just after this.
But Theratas is going to be looking a little bit sheepish at the moment.
His eyes are actually blushing.
You're in the right place to pick that, I guess.
What did I miss at the last room?
You missed, that. Hannibal asked Verti why he hadn't found a maid to reproduce yet, but with like a straight face.
What's the
income now?
Lady reacted.
Oh, and I just wanted to say, as soon as he saw his eyes going pink, she grabbed his face and got really close and said, "Oh, that's interesting. How did you do that?"
We have the best NPCs.
They tend to do that of their own will at times, usually on how I'm feeling.
Oh, does it? Are you angry? Are you happy? Oh,
It's a mood ring! He has a mood ring in his eye.
But also say it's time for a show.
Oh, do you know
That's
if you know anyone else from your kind? I would love to own some of your eyes.
Yeah, what?
Just to clarify, is she saying she wants to rip them out or reproduce so that her child can have them?
I love the total silent pause to that.
She's saying she wants to own one of the species' eyes to see if she can keep changing up their colors, or if they change in the jar.
Wait, you're putting stuff in a jar?
Oh, honey, she just puts a lot of stuff in a jar.
I'm so glad you had this.
Oh god, that's Arrowman.
I kind of like my eyes exactly where they are, thank you.
Yes, but I didn't mean to take them from you. Actually, if you know anyone else from your species you don't like, it's very easy to just chop their heads off and rip their eyes, you know.
That doesn't make it's hard enough to find us in the first place.
Well, if you ever get into a battle for a female and you have another male, please do tell me so I can kill the male. That way you won't have any competition and I can have my eyes.
Oh.
Keep that in mind.
I swear that it's really David Amber.
Then I go to the bar and order like a big plate of food and something to drink.
Yes, I was going to say at this point, the older lady from behind the bar will have tottered her way over to you. She's a very elderly female, thin, still quite solid and mobile, but very, very old. And she has walked over to you. It's taken her this long to get to you. And she says, "Hello, dears. Can I get you anything, food or beverage?"
The therapist is immediately going to go, "I'll have the strongest drink you have."
Give me one of those as well. And a big plate of food.
As well.
I would like a ale.
Yes.
I'll pay for the rest of food. And drinks.
Alright, are you paying for everybody's, or are you just paying for your two?
It's not happening for me.
It's...
Wait, someone talk
at one.
Hello! Just one person that talks now. Or that talks now. I think it's Hannibal.
Are you sure it's me?
Yeah, because it keeps showing up for
Everyone
you.
else talks, it can come up, but when you talk, it's fine.
Oh, so it's not me.
Yeah, it is you.
So, does it bother you a lot? I don't know if I can fix this.
Wait, it's not doing
It's not doing it anymore.
Yeah, it's not. It did it. Oh yeah, if you put the volume of your speakers down slightly, it might be that it doesn't pick it up anymore.
It seems to be okay.
Yeah,
now.
it seems to be okay now.
So I need to put the sound down a little? Is that it?
Just a little, yeah.
Maybe just a little bit.
Because
Okay.
it's probably the sound coming from your speakers into your mic, and it's sending the same sound back.
Okay, is it better now? Try talking.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's good.
Unfortunately, it's good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
I wanted to pay for just that they send me, Rosie, because that was something you asked for me.
Okay.
Can I accidentally put too much money on the table? And just be like, here. For one drink, it's like 10 drinks worth of money.
Cool. Yeah, you can do. So you're gonna pay for like everybody.
Pretty much, yeah. Without realizing it.
Okay, that's fine. She will take then for the food and some of the drinks. She will take. She'll probably take 5 silver.
I'm so confused.
I'm so confused right now.
The NPC has dumped a load of money on the table. You're not there.
No, not talking about
No, not talking about this. I'm talking about
Apparently, I sound like a
bottom of a well.
Do a little bit.
Oh, cheers.
Oh, cheers.
Okay, so she takes the money, sweeps it off the table, puts it into a little pouch, and then she totters back over to the bar.
I'll be back with your food and beverages momentarily. If you need anything, just ask for Tabitha. That's me.
And about 15 minutes later, she comes back with all the drinks, really slowly, on a tray. And then she goes away and comes back another 10 minutes after that with food for whoever ordered food.
Food. I shall grab it all and just like look at people to see if they say anything about me eating it.
I'm gonna grab my drink, which was
Technically, it's one of the strongest drinks, and glop it down in one go, then put it down and be like, oh, that was yummy. And completely change.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but Ferris is just down to his innocent.
Very cool. Chug it as well. Do I roll anything to see if this strong alcohol affects him?
Roll a constitution check.
That's a 7.
Okay. You start to feel a little bit like, ooh, colours. I wonder what they taste like.
Ooh.
Vitheritas, you feel a sort of slight burn tickle in the back of your throat, but yeah, it's alright.
He's feeling a bit more relaxed now.
Yeah, he likes the burning sensation, he enjoys it. Now Vinye as well will sort of whoosh out from the front of your shield and she'll sniff at the drink, and then sort of recoil back and sort of look at you because it's got quite strong alcohol in there. And if you threw it on her, she'd probably become twice as big.
I'll pour the dregs of it into my hand and hold the cup out to her. See if she's interested in trying it.
She fizzles and looks down at your hand and sort of reaches out one of her hands and like touches it, and then instantly she goes and she becomes about as large as a pricity, and is like standing almost on the table now, and like looks around crackling, like with an expression of whoa, and then she sort of slowly shrinks back down again to the little flame she was, and hops back onto your the front of your shield. Well, she was on the front of your shield. She sort of pulls herself back to where she was before. She whooshed upwards and became a much bigger flame. She's now a smaller flame, like when you turn your lighter all the way up to the top, and it's like whoa.
What was the tavern respond to that?
She doesn't notice. She's still on her way, walking back from presenting you the food.
And everybody else in the tavern?
Everybody else in the tavern. Let's have a look.
Is there anyone else in the tavern?
There's about 3 people dotted about.
Yeah, there are 2 girls. Yeah, but.
And there were people sitting at some of the tables.
Okay, the companions noticed. A couple of them laughed, but they didn't really seem to be too fussed by it. 2 of them are too drunk to notice, and the final guy looked up, put his beer mug down, drunkenly rubbed his eyes, and then looked again. And by the time he looked back, Lavinia was back to her usual self.
Nice.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
Oh, can I grab one of the stronger drinks, push it to Varric, and go like, this one's yummy, try this one. And when he has a hard time grabbing it, I just start chugging it into his mouth.
You know what, I'll actually look at Verti for a second, nod, then take the, mug and down it.
Okay, roll me a Constitution save.
Is this still normal or a disadvantage by now?
Still normal. You're not going to get an advantage to that one. Oh, as well.
Ooh, 17.
Okay, you take it better. You were expecting the hit. You were slightly hit by the last one, but this one doesn't hit you as hard. And you swallow it and sort of shake your head. Whoa! You feel like you just tasted the colour green.
Oh, can I start eating the meat and I kind of just crush the bone and gulp it down? Like, I don't even notice that that's not supposed to happen. I just eat the meat without taking off the bones and I just gulp them down.
I keep growling at her.
Okay. And I look at you in amusement.
And then I'll continue eating faster because there's now someone else trying to eat my food.
Okay, cool. Alright, so while you guys are eating and drinking, both merrily and drunkenly and disgustingly, the tottering Tabitha lady slowly makes her way back over to you again and says,
I've been informed that you are wanted at your earliest convenience in our...
And she looks sort of furtively over her shoulder towards the door and then looks back down at you guys.
in our lowest and most expensive dungeon. Go out the back and keep going down the stairs till you can't go down anymore, and you shall find your friend, who has already paid in advance and is waiting for you. I must say it's a good thing he picked our best room. It wouldn't fit all of you otherwise, but you will have to queue up and take turns for some of the equipment. If you need any help, don't feel ashamed to ask. I was a friend of the companions back in my day. I've learned my way around a fetish dungeon. And anyway, your friend awaits you at your earliest convenience. Enjoy the rest of your meal.
Dungeon, I'll look up.
And she then walks away. Have a good time, ducks. And what sort of slowly trundles her way back to the bar, where she carries on her very slow cleaning. You almost feel like as soon as she's finished cleaning one end of the bar, she's going to have to do the other end because it's going to have been dusty again.
I'm going to look around at the people at the table and go, anyone who wants to sit out the questioning can probably stay up here if they want.
I want to go. This sounds interesting.
I'll give a thumbs up to the companion ladies and then walk towards the door.
Alright, well, Varric is going. Is everybody else going with?
I'm going to go. As I've obviously promised to good cop, bad cop psychology already.
Can I, as Varric starts going, can I grab his elbow and pull him down to a whisper?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Varric, is it a good idea to bring your new friends to something so dodgy? We don't know her at all.
I trust her, but if anything happens, we'll just take care of it.
I know what you're taking care of it, me.
Well, that wouldn't solve your issue with it, right?
If you take full responsibility for anything that goes down, then fine.
I will. I will. Huh? Varric is tipsy, I forgot that.
Oh yeah, Varric, can you roll me a dexterity check with disadvantage just to walk down all these stairs?
Oh yeah, of course. Oh wow! 2 19s. Plus my dexterity makes 24.
Okay.
So
yeah, you are still wondering what colours taste like, but you're managing to walk down, and yeah, you're surprising even yourself at this point. You're feeling okay.
I'm gonna ask so many wonderful questions during this interrogation.
Alright, so you go down the stairs. They are tight and spirally. They're similar to the ones that led up to the balcony. They are dark. Occasionally there's a small slit window that looks out over the sea, and occasionally some little candles in brackets, but not much else. You hear, as you go past one room, which is on a lower floor, you hear a sort of muffled
Can I put my ear to the door and listen?
Sure, roll me a perception check.
Can I open my hand and make a flame so we can actually see where we're going?
But
Sure.
I could already see where I was going. Dark fishing.
Not enough.
You can have a flame in your hand, and Vitheritas is probably going to also have a flame near the back as well, because he's got Nalvinia with him as well on his shield.
Okay.
Assuming you didn't leave him. You got a nat 1, Varric.
Yeah, I
Well, of course he wouldn't hear that, because he can't hear anything. You put your ear up to the wood, and your brain gets a bit distracted, and you start thinking, what does wood sound like? I know what it tastes like, but does it sound brown? Or green?
Can I lick it?
And yeah, you can't quite hear anything anymore. You're a bit distracted by your drunken brain.
I lick the door.
Okay. You You take 2 points of damage from splinters in your tongue.
Fuck. Why did I expect anything else to happen there?
It's going in my notes. It's going in my notes.
And ask, did it taste any good? Is that why you're licking it? Should I taste it too?
You could try. It tastes brown.
Is anyone gonna drag his ass down or?
He could
I'm
keep
just gonna pat him on the shoulder and go, you need to lay off the booze, my friend.
But it was tasty.
The door, not so much. As you guys keep going downwards, the 7 of you, 6 of you for now, you make your way down, and again you go past some doors. The doors are all big, wooden, thick, heavy, and they've got locks on both sides. You get right the way down to another door, and it's the last one at the bottom of the stairs, down a tiny little corridor, and it's all very dark with one candle next to the door. And the door is ajar.
I will turn right on in.
Well, the tiefling is striding on in. Would
I'll
everyone else
just
like to
walk in
follow?
after him.
Okay. Again, yeah, you're still feeling this feeling of determined loyalty to the flamey tiefling. So, everybody else comes in the room as well, and you find yourselves in a very, very larger than you're expecting room. It looks as if it's dug almost into the cliff, and the stairs to get down to it are a part of the back part of the tavern. The room itself has no windows at all. It's got a few candles around it. You can see there is a lot of equipment in the room. There is what looks like a trestle table. There is what looks like some instruments and tools. There are a lot of handcuffs all over the walls. There's a cage in one corner. There's a small fire pit, which is out at the moment, with several pokers in it. There's a lot of rope and things lying around, and there are a few chests, which are along one wall, which look full to bursting, but only just shut. In the middle of the room is one of the chairs, and tied firmly to the chair is what looks like a human male. He has...
I want to... Oh, you're still explaining, sorry.
That's alright, I was just thinking he's got like... he's wearing like a hooded cloak and dark clothes. The hood is down, he's got like dark lanky hair. In the candlelight you can see he's human. He looks sort of like early 30s, and he looks fairly fucked up.
Hey, buddy.
You can light the fire if you want, or you could ask Navinia to go in.
Well, I'm not going anywhere near that fire demon thing.
I'm moving around and touching all the objects with an extremely interested face.
I'm loyal to...
what does this do?
I'm loyal to Verti, not to Navinia, so I'll try and light the fire.
You can't see Kaloja yet, no. And, okay, you can try and light the fire, in which case, roll me a... do me a nature check.
And while you do that, I'll come up and say, who's the elf?
Oh, yeah.
She's a friend.
He appears, by the way. He doesn't walk into the room. He's in the room, and he sort of appears as if from nowhere at all.
Kind of getting used to that by now.
Yeah.
I'm going to look at Kaloja and say, I have no fucking clue.
I look at him and go, oh, you finally stopped playing hide and seek.
I repeat,
who's the elf? Sorry,
I'm the elf.
Brenda.
I'm the elf.
You're a half elf.
You're a half elf, not talking to you, you're drunk.
He is an elf.
I am not.
He is an
I
elf.
am not a half elf. Don't you dare say that again.
And again, why did you bring
someone above us?
She was trusted. And then I continue lighting the fire, ignoring him.
While he's doing that, I'm going to walk over to the person, like, strapped up to the chair and stick my face right down next to theirs.
Okay.
Hey, buddy, how you doing today?
I'm not going to say anything, just staring at him.
What's Kalusha's appearance? Just so I have him. Is he human? Is he an elf? Is he a monster? Does he have something?
He's a monk.
You can't see.
Well, you
can't see no facial features at all.
Yeah, but is he large?
About
6'2" and have a hood up with a mask on, long cloak.
Wait, he's 6'2" too? He's exactly as long as me.
Okay. Kalusha, you do know what I look like, right? Just so.
Yep.
Okay. Let's check. I look curiously at you and ask you, well, you're trying to find who I am, but who are you? I don't believe we've met before.
No, we haven't.
That's why I'm asking what you're doing here.
I was invited.
Right, fair enough.
Right, fair enough. Doesn't matter.
By the way, you're sounding kind of double-ish to me. Your microphone. I can hear you twice.
Yeah, it's
probably getting picked up Rosie's mic as well.
Talk quieter.
Stop living in the same house, you guys. Gosh.
I know. Goodness sake.
Hey, I'm
in my man cave. He's not in hers.
You're still talking really loudly.
I'm talking quite quietly.
Okay. Yes, Varric, there are pokers in the fire. And okay, yeah, you can play around with the poker in the fire, not a problem. The Theritas is glaring at the human male in the chair, his eyes turning to silver.
He grabs his face and he looks in his eyes. Yay, they changed color again! Carry on.
Okay, the guy in the chair is looking quite beat up. You can't tell the complete extent of it because the room is quite dark. One eye looks very bruised and puffy. He's got some cuts and stuff along his cheeks and things. He's very heavily tied to the chair. So, Kaloja, do you want to introduce the situation to them?
Well, I couldn't really get too much
so I didn't want to ask him too much, to be perfectly honest. I was waiting for you guys to get here. And at that time, I turn around and look at him, put my mechanical arm onto his shoulder, and cast my lightning blade through my arm to shock him a bit.
Where did you say that you picked him up, Kaloja?
No, do tell them. Where did I get you from?
The guy is not sounding very happy.
I'm gonna crouch down so that I'm like eye to eye with this person. And basically turn around and go, would you like to repeat that a bit louder for everyone here?
Oh, you just grunted, okay.
Oh, can I use effect out on this guy? Like, I place my hand on his head and use effect out, and then I ask everyone, so, what do you want to know? Because I'm reading his mind. That's pretty much what this spell does.
Okay, how long does it last for?
I'm sorry? I couldn't hear you.
How long does it last for?
It lasts for One action, duration, concentration up to 1 minute. So you have to be quick.
Okay, cool. Alright. And then he does have the ability to speak, so you can ask him as well. But for the moment, you can detect his thoughts.
Okay, so I ask everyone. I'm currently in his thoughts. What do you want to know?
What?
Where he came from, where Closure picked him up.
But then I'll never find out what green tastes like.
Okay, so what does he answer? Or what do I answer? What does his mind tell me?
Okay, his mind says this.
I was just minding my own business in the street, and someone grabbed me. That git, I assume.
And he points at Closure.
Right. I'm not going to have moved, but I'm going to turn around and find out where Sharp and Rot is.
And I look inside his mind, and what do I find?
Okay, you're asking if he knows where Sharp and Rot is.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea. He could be in the castle, he could be in the black market, he could be anywhere.
Where's the black market? And what does green taste like?
I asked him the first question only.
Technically, I just asked him the second question out loud. Which would blur his thoughts as well. Because it's 2 questions.
I think 3 questions is the limit for 1 minute, isn't it?
I'll give you this one and maybe a quick one more. So you ask him where the black market is, and his mind comes up with?
You have to find the Dusty Bellows. And what the bloody hell do you mean about green?
I pick up the by now hot poker in the fire. I bring it to his face. And I go, what? This green tastes like?
I grab the thing out of his hand and throw it against the wall and tell him to sit down.
I remove my hand from his head and stop speaking as him, and I move back. That's all the questions I can make him say. Oh, you have to do the rest of the work.
That's more than enough to go on. I'm gonna turn around and go, when was the last time you saw Sharp and Rot? You've already talked this much. Be helpful.
It was the last time I checked in for orders.
Which was when?
I don't know how long I've been down here.
Closure, how long have you had this guy down here for?
Roughly 2 days.
There you go, sweetheart. Does that jog your memory?
Oh, how helpful of you. It was probably about a week ago then.
And where did you meet him the last time you saw him?
I don't remember him telling me that was your business, to be fair.
And then I electrocute him again.
Okay, big bolts of energy go through.
Oh, can I grab some needles and start putting them really near his eye? They start going tick tock, tick tock.
Sure. With that. Add 2.
Do I have to throw the...
Roll an intimidation check, please.
Which dice is for that?
D20 and add the little number next to your intimidation score.
Intimidation score. I have that printed as well. I can look at everything. Deception, intimidation is a 1, and I rolled a 13.
Okay. He is taken aback by the first needle, but he just blinks at you. And it seems like he is quite resilient to intimidating people.
I'm going to give him my most evil grin. And I'm going to use lay on hands and heal him. And then I'm going to tell him, I can make this last as long as you like.
Oh, snap.
I have an idea.
I smile and
worry about that.
Kaloja will remember this. Okay, you are healed up. The Theritas, do you want to roll how much is healed by?
I can actually just use it. So what I'll do is I'll give him 10 HP back.
Okay, cool. Alright, he's looking a lot better.
I'm presuming I'm going to have to still roll intimidation on what I said there.
Yes, please. And repeat what you said as well. I think it sort of got lost in the tumult of a lot of different
It's
things.
basically, I can make this last as long as you like. In regards to all the torture that he's already suffered.
Cool.
I bet you said that to the elves
Oh, for
upstairs too.
heck's sake.
Say that again, tortured guy, I couldn't hear you.
Hang on, what did you roll, the Theritas?
I rolled a feckin' 2, which makes it an 8.
Okay, in which case, yeah, you can repeat that.
Oh, I have a great idea too. Is there any chance that while I was in his mind, I could get the name of like his wife or his daughter, and I can just casually say the name to him, like I know about this person?
He didn't think of any of them while you were in his mind, no.
That would have been fun.
The Theritas, in response to you, he does not look intimidated, and he said this.
I bet you said that to all the elves upstairs too.
Meanwhile, Varric is putting his scarf over his face and an entire water bottle onto the scarf. Oh, okay. Varric, can you please roll me a... Waterboarding.
That'd be definitely intimidation.
I'm gonna go intimidation, and you roll me that and add a 3.
Nat 20.
15.
They're so lucky today, damn you.
This is going in my notes as well, though. Varric. Right underneath Varric licks the door. Varric, waterboards, poor man. Okay. Good to know. Okay, well we got 20.
Varric is less nice.
Can you...
Yes,
Okay.
Gina, yes.
So,
Did you hear that?
Zone of truth.
what did you say, Gina?
Zone of truth.
Is Arissa going to cast Zone of Truth?
Yeah.
Hey!
Sorry, thanks.
Okay, cool. So, just to explain to everyone involved, Varric, you were successful. You started choking the NPC guy, but he didn't suffocate because he rolled well enough on his Constitution save. So you've shocked him, and he is a little shaken now. That's going to add to later. And for now, Arissa, the very blonde, buxom, bubbly bard, has just cast Zone of Truth, which means that you are compelled to tell the truth for a little while, which means whenever they ask you things, you have to tell them the truth, which makes things easier for you. It lasts for 10 minutes, which in terms of questioning is going to be quite a decent amount of time. Okay. Roll me this one. Alright, yeah, no, he's telling you the truth. Okay, so Kaloja is stood ominously behind you with a hand on your shoulder. The little gnome has cast dancing lights near your face, so it's all like you've been waterboarded and there's bright lights in your face, and you're now feeling compelled to tell the truth. I need to pee, so go ahead, ask him stuff.
I also need to do that, please.
Vitocious will ask, well, since you're hopefully feeling a little bit more helpful, where do you go to get your orders?
I go to shop and rot. You know that.
Yes, but where do you meet him?
In the black. Anywhere he wants me to be, really. It can change. It could be dead drops. It could be hidden. Who knows? He kind of does his own thing.
So he contacts you.
He sends out missives or couriers.
Do you have any way of messaging him?
You think he'd let me have those kind of... no. He only gets hold of me. I can't get him.
What kind of work do you do for?
Spying, mostly. Pays the bills.
And who does he make you spy on?
Mostly the royals. Sometimes people who just annoy him, but primarily the royals.
Do you know anybody that would be able to get in touch with Sharp and Rot themselves?
I'd say the king would probably have a fair share.
Just to check, but you said earlier we gathered that we could find the black market somewhere. Where do we find it?
The Dusty Bellows, he said.
Yeah, but I want to confirm with the Zone of Truth activated, just to make sure that he, isn't a trained. He's a trained spy. He might, be able to deal with some magic to find answers.
If you find the Dusty Bellows, you'll find your way down there. Whether you'll find your way out again, who knows?
And where would one start looking for the Dusty Bellows?
It's hardly going to be in the high end of town, is it? Go to where the more disreputable types hang, I'd imagine. You'd probably find yourself down there quite a lot anyway.
Okay.
That's sorry to object.
Oh, I wanted to ask what the color green tastes like. That's like my final question, and then Varric will step back. I'll just ask once again, what does the color green taste like?
Your mother.
That's under the... Wait. wait. I cast Fog Cloud. I cast Fog Cloud.
Okay.
Oh, God.
I stab him in the face.
With the poker?
Yeah, with one of the red hot pokers.
Okay, cool.
Wait.
Yeah, you threw one away.
How you...
Okay, carry on. Varric, can you roll me a dexterity check?
Can he see through the fog?
I know where the pokers are, I'm close to them.
No, it's not that, it's where I am.
Well, it all depends on if he fails his dexterity check.
Well, I probably don't, because I rolled a 19 total.
Okay. Well, no, you're fine, because with the 20... Yeah, you're fine. Okay, you make an impact with something, but it doesn't feel like the face. It feels like something has grabbed the weapon and is pushing it away from you. 6 points of fire damage. Not you, Varric. You. Both. Okay, in which case it'll just be a little bit melty.
Wait, but how would that work? Because the fog is now everywhere. Would he even see the weapon?
Kaloja saw through the fog and has stopped you from dealing a potentially fatal blow to this person. For now.
Okay. I'm happy anyway because, well, I got the chance to stand for now.
Okay, I'm back, and is he still strapped to the stair? Are we still interrogating? Is he still telling the truth?
He's still trapped to the strapped. He's still strapped to the chair. He is still telling the truth. You have about 8 in-game minutes left, so not minutes now, but in-game 8 minutes. He just had a quip against Varric's mother. Varric tried to kill him with a poker from the fire, but Kaloja stopped him, seeming they want to keep him alive to try and find out more about him. However, the room is covered in fog, so it's quite difficult for you to see at the moment.
That's not really a problem. Okay. Oh, at this time, people can. Is anyone near me?
A few people are, yeah.
Well, we're all in this small room.
What? Sorry?
The room wasn't big enough that it was just about big enough that we could all fit in, right? So wouldn't we all be relatively close?
Okay, then I think people can see something foggy in my forehead, but they can't really tell what it is. They just see like a wave of heat as I look at the fog.
As well, when I grab the poker off of Varric, I tell him to sit down and calm down.
I grab Varric's shoulder and I make him sit down in one of the machines. The cleanest one. I'm just...
Oh my.
Okay, Varric, you are sat down. Varric, could you please make me a dexterity check.
No, actually, can I have put him in the freaking cage and just close the door?
Sure. Varric,
Okay,
make me a dexterity check again for something different. Okay. Varric, you, in shock, find yourself pushed into the cage to calm down, and you manage to avoid, as you are sort of thrown in and you end up sitting, you manage to just avoid sitting down on something rubbery that's on the floor of the cage. Okay, those of you who are back by the prisoner, prisoner, BDSM slave, whatever you want to call them in the middle of the room. What are you asking?
Well,
I'll turn and say to the group,
remember what
I accused him of?
Nope.
When we're in the
Very good,
bath day, or spa day.
And I'm not looking through your notes.
Basically
accuse him of being a pedophile and that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
No,
I accused him of that.
Yeah, and then we told you that it was Rod who did that.
Yep.
Now I'm gonna grab the NPC's shoulder again and tell him, how many women do you think he tends to go through a week? Or sorry, not women, little girls.
How many
families does he ruin?
I've never seen him with a woman. It's always younger ones. Boys, girls, he doesn't seem to mind.
And do you collect them for him?
Hell no.
Who does?
Why don't you stop him?
He used to just collect them and either took his eye and pay some form of reparations to the family. They didn't mind too much around that area. They were kind of lacking monetarily. They didn't like that too much now, so your elven friends upstairs, they like to find people for him.
So they do the collecting.
That they do.
And again, how many do you think they go through a month alone?
Depends on his mood. Could be at least one a week sometimes. If he likes them, it can be the same one for a fair old while. Month or more.
I kind of look back at it for that.
I'm just completely speechless and
I
pacing
look
back.
at Varric and ask him, do you want me to hurt him?
This one?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Okay then.
And I openly say, do not kill him.
Who said anything about killing?
I'm just making sure.
Okay,
We already had one attempt already.
what was the front spell that I used the last time? Can I use not command? Third year spell slot? It's in the second one, I think. This guy's stuff. Cloud Daggers. No, can I use Dissonant Whispers again?
Yeah?
Do I roll?
Yes. As long as you've still got a spell slot available, then yes.
What do you mean? It was one of my spell slots. It was there. I used it on the carriage.
Yes, that's fine. As long as so Dissonant Whispers is a first level enchantment. So as long as you haven't used all your first level spells, you're fine. But I don't think you've used all of them. Yes, Timo, I am currently replying to you. Don't worry.
Okay.
So do I roll?
Yes. Roll and add your spell modifier, and you roll that.
What exactly is that? Sorry. Is it the 20 dice or is it the?
Yeah, it's a 20-sided.
Always roll, 20-sided dice, and then your spell modifier you will have worked out while we did your.
Okay. Spell modifier. For hit points, armor class. Spell modifier. Is that in the numbers we did the last time?
Yes, your spell modifier. It should be next to where we put all your spells and everything. It'll just be a little number. It was an 8 plus your, I believe it's your charisma that you use. It should be somewhere between a 12 and a 16.
Is it passive wisdom? Because I'm not seeing anything. After on hit points, I have passive wisdom, but
it should be on top of your spell list, like where your spells are.
Yeah, the next page.
Oh, I don't think I filled that. We never filled that. I filled the spells and I sent them to you, so it's probably in our conversations.
That's okay. For you, I'll say yours is probably around a 15 at the moment. So just put in brackets, put spell modifier, spell AC, sorry, is a 15. So basically, if anyone tries to roll against you, it's a 15, and when you need to roll for it, you roll a d20 and add a 5.
Okay.
Just to make it easier for now. I'll work it out with you properly afterwards, because otherwise I'll have to do
I
it
got
a
a
second time.
19, so plus 5, 24.
You've beaten the NPC and he did quite a good roll as well. Okay, so roll me 3 d6s and add them together to do his damage. Because he has failed the save against you.
Oh god, hopefully I healed enough.
Right. A 3, a 2,
Kill
and a 4.
him. Kill him.
I'm not killing him. I don't want to kill him.
Death is a release.
I healed him just enough.
So let us know when you've done the 3d6s.
Oh, I already did. I have a 3, a 4, and a 4. No, it was a 3, a 4. I'm just gonna do it again.
I think it was a 3, a 2, and a 4.
Okay, 3, 2, 4. In which case, we will take that off your round. Okay, he's not looking too great, but he's not dead. He cannot run away from you, which normally would be the result of this. He would try to move as far away from you as possible. However, he is currently tied to a chair, so he sort of is struggling against himself, and between Kaloja and Vatheritas, they're going to tip the chair back so it's not going to fall over, so he has to stay around you guys. What does everyone else want to do?
Anyone want my mission?
I already did my part.
So, Sharpen Rot is still in the city, you think? I'm asking the guy.
I know he'll be somewhere in the city. He has plans.
When he stays in the city, where does he live?
Well, he tends to move around guest houses, but look for Mr. Marxis and you'll probably find him.
And where does Mr. Marxis live when he's in the city? Is he also taking rooms in guest houses, or does he...
He'll be in the castle.
What are Sharpen Rot's plans, as far as you know?
He wants to fake a marriage to bring a union.
And is this the marriage of Emily Marxis and... I've forgotten the guy's name!
Him.
The character, I'm just going to say the guy's name.
You mean the marriage between Emily Marxis and Tiavat Tal?
That's the one that I meant.
That's the one that you most definitely in character said.
Apricity said that. Vicky has no fucking clue right now because she's on the wrong page now.
That's the one.
And what happens to him if he fails in his plans?
You think he fails? Did you not listen to how many urchins he managed to keep for himself and he still is untouched? You think he will fail? Unbelievable.
You fucked with the wrong assassin.
Oh, I don't know, I'm having a whale of a time.
How is it that Sharpen Rot is so well protected? What does he do for the king to make himself so favoured?
Well, he's on the royal council. You know how these things can be, they're very tight-knit.
Is it all just money passing hands, or is there something deeper than that?
You could say that.
And how long have you worked for the awful man?
1 year.
What kind of information have you passed to him about the royals?
I grab his
shoulder tighter.
Rot's working with the king to keep magic from the country.
That's all. He's frightened of a few magic spells.
A court wizard no more likely to see straight through his bullshit.
What do you think of him, Chloe? Why do you like this?
Say that again?
Why do you think he's so frightened of magic being in his city?
I personally don't know. I think magic would definitely screw up his plans. He's no control over it.
So he's just a scared little boy.
Seems like it, with a lot of coin.
I'd quite happily remove some of that coin from him when I looked at him. So what should we do with this chap here? We can't let him go, can we?
Oh, I know that. I'll deal with it.
Does anyone have anything else they want to ask?
The therapist is going to pop right down in front of him again and go, "Do you regret working for Sharpen?"
I've never been particularly enamoured with the man myself. I wouldn't say I worked for him by choice.
There is such thing as saying no to someone that you know is evil.
What was that? I can't quite hear you from up on your high horse.
Someone that stands by as a man who steals young girls from the streets does not deserve to be on the same level as I.
Or maybe not, but wouldn't you do any possible thing you could to keep you and yours safe?
There is a limit.
Come back and tell me that again when he has his eye on your daughter.
When he has what, sorry?
When he has his eyes set on your children.
So you're saying you've worked with him because you fear for your own?
It's less of a fear.
Is it just messed up?
Yeah. You've got about 2 minutes left.
It's less of a fear, more acting in accordance with a very thinly veiled threat.
Then why don't you just move you away from danger?
A certain man like that won't have resources arise everywhere. Oh, wait. Yes, he does.
Do you really think he's going to be bothered by one little scummy shit running away? Do you really think he has his time set for someone like you and your daughter to spend, go and send somebody off to go look for you? I really don't think so.
So where we currently stand, we are wanting to put a stop to Sharpen Rot and his disgusting ways. That would benefit you as well as us. Is there anything else that you can tell us that will help us find this man and stop him?
I know pretty much all of his dealings. So I'm fairly certain if I tried to get anywhere, he would make sure I wasn't around to talk. So either way, I'm not exactly in the best position.
What's the name of your daughter?
Abigail.
Abigail, no.
You don't say threatening right now.
And where is Abigail right now?
She's safe at home, as long as I keep jumping when he says. I know the second I try and do anything, he will stop me. He's spent countless time organising a fake marriage between someone who's not even here or around anymore.
I just received my location. Yes.
So by someone who's not even here, are you to the dude's name that I totally remembered when Rosie said it?
Tiabat Tal.
That one. Is he no longer around?
He's been missing since the war started. 5 years now.
We had heard that he was missing. I didn't realise it was quite that long. So how is he hoping to pass off this wedding if there's no groom?
That's his plan. He wants to set it up And then it will look as if the tiles have stood up. So then Paulson would be even more against magic, which seems to work quite to Rot's favour.
How's it with the tails, alright?
Yes, I hear rumour Emily's not turned up where she was expected.
As far as I know, Marx's is the bride. And that area of the plan is going at least as far as he wanted it to.
Well, it'd be lovely to meet dear Sharpen and tell him how his plan is going to fail.
It's already failed.
And it will be at this point that the zone of truth will start to wear off. You can still ask him things, but you can't be certain he will tell you the truth.
Cool.
What's his name?
Abigail.
Well done, Christy. You tried.
I can listen so well.
Yes! I'm a turkey license board, baby!
Yay!
Welcome to the
I tightened my hands on his shoulder a little bit tighter. Is there anything else you would like to tell us for the sake of Abigail?
Just one thing. Move your hand a little to the left. There's such a knot there.
I fucking love this NPC.
And with that, I pull a whisker out. And with the tip of my blade, I just touch the end of the back of his head. And I whisper something infernal to him. Then I cast Disintegrate.
Okay, he touches him, and the body starts to shake. The guy's eyes roll about, and he starts to convulse, and he starts to sort of laugh in shrieks of pain.
Am I supposed to have to be what you speak?
Whoa, is it okay?
And then he disintegrates into a pile of nothing.
I'm still in the screen. I'll answer your questions after.
Stop talking over Rosie, Luke, I can't hear.
The guy laughed and convulsed and went a bit manic, and then disappeared into dust particles. The ropes have gone slightly slack on the chair, and it's now covered in a black layer of dust on the floor. Arissa, if you're wearing your goggles, this dust is not gold and sparkly, it's just dust.
I'm just gonna stand and stare open-mouthed closure.
Just to be sure, I was answering questions. What happened to the guy? Did he die?
He got disintegrated by closure.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Now that I'm in the hallway,
so we didn't witness.
yeah, now that I'm in the hallway, I just wandered out of into the Baywatch Tavern.
Same, yeah.
Okay. You all head on upstairs and you go back into the main room of the tavern. There's a few more people there now, several of them heading on up the stairs. Some money is being exchanged with some of the companion ladies. There's still a fair few of them who are standing similar to the place where Varric spoke to a few of them. And, okay, cool, yeah. I mean, you wouldn't have needed it so far down, but yeah, that's fine. You can cancel the spell, that's fine. And yeah, you'll get back up there. There's a few people sitting by the fire.
Oh, finished with tears? Well, excellent. I'll send the cleaners down. Is there a lot of mess today, or not too much? Oh, you know what, never mind. As long as you had a good time, that's what counts.
Oh, in an outraged voice, I'll say, I was locked in a fucking cage. And then I'll order a drink.
You know, If I'd had to guess what would be your little kink, my dear, I think cages would have been my top 3. I was a little partial to a good caging when I was your age. Well, your age in
proudly and
appearance.
say, I put him there.
I'll actually
good
look
for
at
you,
her with this
dearie.
outraged look of confusion.
Okay. Also, Kalosia's apparently taking his mask off and is looking a bit grumpy. You're back on the main floor. The table that you were sat at is now taken, but there are some chairs by one of the fires if you want to sit in that one. Those ones, rather.
Wait, what did you say, Verty?
Oh, I'm going to order a green drink for Varric so he can taste it.
Order what you guys want. Okay.
You good sir have a deal. And I order like a lot of food.
Except for you.
What?
Wait? Is he talking to me or to
He's
Varric?
talking to Varric saying he can't order as much food as he wants.
I'll down the green drink and I'll just grumpily walk out of the tavern and sit like on the side of the tavern against the wall.
I turn around and across the team, ask her, is he usually that impulsive?
There's not much of a filter to that, boy, no. It's probably wise to keep an eye on him.
Both, preferably.
Kalosia, what the fuck happened down there?
To what part?
That guy Noel, I realised that he was bad, but Jesus.
He's as guilty as well, as far as I'm concerned.
Do I still manage to follow him, even if he casts without trace? Pass without trace?
It stops magical tracking and it gives me a sneak boost, so I'm not sure.
If you're all just heading back up, then you're all heading into the same place anyway, so it doesn't particularly matter if you've seen each other go.
I'm sneaking
outside.
I wandered out of the tavern because he didn't order any food.
Oh,
That's when I
okay.
cast password trace and sneak off into the city.
And I'm asking if I managed to follow him with the spell.
You can follow him just because you naturally have an inbuilt sense to where he is.
But password trace makes magical tracking impossible.
Oh, honey.
This isn't magical tracking, this is bonded tracking.
Did I think I heard that wrong. Was that bondage
you heard it
tracking?
wrong.
No, it was
I think you said
bonded
wrong.
tracking.
I like the second one better.
Okay, can I cast... Just a second, since I know he doesn't follow this guy's self.
Does he do all those stuff to like try and get away?
Sure, you can roll stealth to try and get away. The sense you will get at the moment, Hannibal, is that he perhaps wants to be by himself, but you can still sense where he is, but you don't have to show yourself to him if you feel like he wants to be on his own. But you would still be aware of where he was.
Then I'll go back inside to be with the others, since I feel like he doesn't need me right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I did my maths correct this time.
That is
Okay.
insane.
So the others were speaking to Kalosia currently in the tavern.
I wanted to ask Kalosia if he had any where Sharp and Rock might be right now.
I just realised that I might be able to help with that. As long as Kalosia is able to come up with a reasonable enough image of Sharpen.
Oh, can you
You've
do
seen
like
this picture.
can you do like a bloodhound sniffer dog kind of thing?
I could probably track him down, yes. Well, the difference is if you guys would rather meet him and talk to him and deal with things, that'd be a lot more difficult to be finding him and deal with him exactly like I found your friend downstairs.
I would rather dispatch him with one shot while sat in a tree, but I feel we should attempt to talk to him and find out what plans. I don't know how the others feel.
Well, the reason why it's plans. The reason why I asked what his child's name is, I'm going to see if I can get her, take it to the Thieves Guild, and maybe then induct her into it for protection. They won't basically trade out one of their own at all. Doesn't matter who it is, if they're outside member, they can get to fuck.
I love that you just said to get to fuck with this. I think that's a very honourable thing to do. Do you have any idea how the girl was? She can't be much. She can't be in her teens, can she? Would they take a young girl in?
Yes.
Yes, I'd say so, yes.
What about mother? What about mother?
If
she knew what her husband is up to and said a word to try to change his mind, I don't give a fuck about her.
What if she didn't know? Maybe she
If she doesn't know, she can go with the daughter. That'll be questioned.
She was threatening to basically rape their kid, and you're telling him off for cooperating!
He could have left for Russia, he could have left the continent. He would have bothered to chase him.
Huh?
Ooh, I knew what to say.
Say that again, and okay, Varric, roll me a perception check. What did you say?
I'm
saying if he left country, I highly doubt Sharpen would bother to pay attention to such a small minuscule person in
Well,
this
one,
massive.
as he said, he knew Sharpen's secrets, and two, he'd have to have got out of the country first. Like, it's like running away from Littlefinger, man. Like, it's not gonna work! It's not gonna work!
It's gonna work when Sharpen and us not there anymore.
Okay. So, Varric.
Yeah.
Perception cues to have a look around as you are climbing the roofy tops. Okay. You look around and you spend a good long time. You cannot see anyone who resembles Sharpen Rot, unfortunately.
He's gonna be keeping two eyes on your pal. Where is he?
Didn't he go to the bar to get food?
No, he walked out the door. Did you notice that though?
Huh?
Colosia, did you notice that I walked out with like that 36 on myself?
No, but he's just
Oh yeah, I stopped it when I was outside, so you guys may have seen that I went outside.
Yeah. DM is going for shit right now.
Hang on, let's check first. Wait, let's check. Sorry, Bethera, that's what were you saying?
I was just saying that, as Tina was saying, he did stuff outside the tavern, not inside, so we probably saw him go out.
Yeah.
I'm going to say to Felicity and Bertie, like a smell of alcohol in his breath, and that impulsive maneuver curing some of the shit, I think he might do something impulsive again, soon.
Unfortunately, the only can get Varric to do anything is a risk, and If we don't know where he is, right, we can do.
He tends to be extremely good at sneaking, so tracking him is problematic at the best of times.
Ooh, you guys haven't actually seen me use Pass Without Trace, so you don't know about him.
No, we don't.
No, but you're pretty fucking sneaky without it, so...
Yeah, fair. No, I just realized that. That's why I said it like that.
Yep.
I will just
How far are you? How far are you away right now? As it's all good. A minute has passed.
That depends on whether the rosy rules, how long it takes, what I'm trying to do.
I mean, are you literally going to search the entire city, because that would take you all, like, hours? Or are you going to sort of search nearby the castle and where you are currently, because that would maybe take you 1 hour?
Well, seeing as I wouldn't be able to find him, which you mentioned, Drunk Varric would probably give up and just return to the rooftop of the tavern.
Okay.
We feel like 2 minutes has passed since we went to the bar we left. Hence what I was asking.
Yeah. So at the moment, Varric is still not there. For the next hour or so of gameplay, Varric isn't there, and then he'll be on the roof. Hannibal, you will know that, so in a little bit of gameplay, he'll be back on the roof, and you'll know that, but no one else will have registered where he is.
Okay, the reason I was going to say that is just going to put my hand on very and simply say, to try and save some issues, I'm going to dimension door directly to Varric by just thinking about that's how dimension door works.
Nice.
Okay, so currently you're just sitting at the tavern, right?
Yes.
Okay. Checking.
Oh, did you not follow Varric outside?
She did, but she came back again.
But I went back inside and I'm leaning against the wall next to the fireplace, listening to you.
Sorry, I missed
that. Sure, you can listen to Annabelle when you come back.
Well,
if the dungeon master thinks it's okay.
It's mostly during during hunting for the. Because he was talking about.
But then once you look up and look at where on the direction that you probably are, and what you will see if you are asking for her or if you're just saying her my name. You know what I mean?
Well, to be fair, he's quite drunk, but he knows that you would try to help him because that's what you literally told him. So he'd be asking for it, as a raged, drunk Varric could not find the person that he's trying to murder violently.
Okay, so when you do ask, say my name, Tom.
Well, that would be him asking.
Oh, you're already asking for me.
Yeah.
Okay, then I go outside and I close the door, and are the others watching me?
They've seen you leave, but for the purposes of this, I'll say that they're going to continue having their conversation while you go up to the roof. So they've noticed you've gone, but they're not particularly tracking you about it. So I'll go to you and Varric first, and then I'll jump back to everyone else, and they can have the conversation that they were going to have the whole way through. So,
I think to save me dimension door Varric.
Yeah.
Hang on, explain that again.
Oh yeah, so you'd be there as well then when Hannibal shows up.
Instantly, yeah.
Okay, but
I put my arm in very big go grab a drop in Varric.
when were you doing that? Were you doing that after an hour or instantly?
Right when I was just saying he's a bit drunk and the very impulses of for fuck's sake, he lets him leave the door. That's put my arm on Verdi to help him with the bar.
Okay, well for the purpose of this, I'm going to say that you decided to do that after a little while.
No.
Because Varric had already left by that point, he'd already made that decision. So...
I know, there's about 30 seconds after you left the door, I had a conversation.
Yeah, but he's already rolled to have a search. He can drunkenly search for not very long and sort of wander down a couple of the streets, but give him 10 minutes of in-game time. And then you can be like, maybe he's just gone out to Chunder or something, and then he hasn't come back, so you two can jump to him. So what I'll say is that because you were drunk, Varric, you felt like you were searching for hours, and you feel like you've scoured the city, but actually, you scoured maybe 3 streets nearby and stumbled back towards the tavern, at which point you whispered for Hannibal, who's now walked outside to find you. However, in the middle of that, you have now had the Theritas and Kalosia who have bamfed and appeared in front of you.
I'll sort of jump and punch.
Okay, I'm not going to roll for that because you're quite drunk, so I'm just going to say that they avoid your punch for the moment. But yeah, you're stood in front of a slightly drunk Varric who looks like he's been sort of walking for a while.
Wait, so who is in front of him? It's Kalosia and...
Yes, Kalosia and the Theritas. You can now, coming out of the tavern, you can now see these guys, but they've now appeared.
Okay, can I climb to the roof? Do I need to roll something?
Roll me acrobatics to climb up.
So that's a 20 and then another?
You're on the roof in front of Varric.
Oh shit! Did they hit the roof though?
They're in front of you on the roof, there's enough room.
I rolled a 15 and I have 1 in acrobatics.
But I was sitting on the edge and he specified in front of me, didn't he?
Okay, in which case they'll appear sort of beside you then.
Okay, yeah.
And I climb behind you.
Okay.
So I rolled a 15 with 1 plus 1 acrobatics.
Okay, yeah, you're up there on the roof as well, you spot him, you climb on up, sort of, and you get up there, and so you've got the Theritas and Kalosia stood next to Varric, are you sat on the edge of the roof, Varric?
Yeah. Like, swinging my legs.
Okay, and yeah, so Hannah, you're up there as well now.
I'm also eating an apple.
Okay.
I asked him, did you not find that one which we were hunting?
Nah, he's not there.
Don't go off on your own looking for somebody. You're gonna get hurt.
Nah, it's fine.
You're being a drunken idiot right now.
That's just my opinion.
Wait, what? Because two people were talking earlier.
I said that I don't think you would end up hurt of that, but that's just my opinion.
Nah, I don't die that easily.
And I said you're being a drunken idiot right now.
Maybe, but I still don't die that easily. Last time it took fucking tentacles from the sky to kill me. So yeah, no.
All Sharp and Rot would need to do is point at you and you'd have an entire city guard on you and you'd either be killed or be locked in a dungeon and you'd never be seen again.
They can't kill what they can't see.
Dean, can I insight the tentacles from the sky comment to see if he's actually being... Like, if he actually truly believes that?
Sure, yes.
I like that wording.
I feel like the rest of the probably take notice of that wording.
Rissa would take notice of the wording. However, are you guys still on the roof, or have you walked back into the tavern by this point? Because if they're still on the roof, then you haven't heard them.
I think we should be dragging him inside the tavern.
Yeah, that's the
purpose of hurrying up to drag his ass back
In
inside.
which case, to make it fair, because it's more fun, I'll say that as they dragged him bodily through the tavern door, he started talking about that. So, Arissa, yes, you would notice this wording as well, and you have a sort of moment in your brain where you have a sort of flash, and you can imagine it. You can imagine exactly what it would have looked like to see tentacles, dark, terrifying, reaching down from the sky as if to come and grab people.
Wait, do I hear? Do I notice that Arissa hears this?
You notice that Arissa's nearby. Yes. The Theritas. He seems like he believes it. He might be drunk, but he seems like he believes it. The gnome does spit take, but manages to save it and catch the spit in her mouth by putting her head down on the table.
Yeah.
Can I put my hand out and cast utterly tendrils in front of his face?
Sure.
Okay, that's pretty much almost like tentacle-like black things, if you can...
Wait, more?
Yeah, so that's to see your reaction to your own story.
Wait a second. You're putting tentacles in front of my face. Do I know that?
I placed my hand in front of your face, I cast a spell, and tentacles come out of my skin to fly around your face.
So I noticed that it's you doing this.
Yes.
Well, you're a bit drunk, so I'm gonna say it's 50-50.
Okay, should I roll something for it to notice that it's her doing this?
Sure, roll me just a intelligence check.
Fuck, my dice loves me tonight. Not natural 20.
Okay.
Ooh, I haven't sold my daggers yet, so I can use those.
That's always hard.
Okay. So Kaloja says that he went off to find Sharpen Rot, and he could get himself killed if you guys aren't taking care of him. Maybe some sort of, lead and collar.
I'll use that spell while they're tying him up.
Yeah, there probably will be, leads and collars down in the Fetish Dungeon.
They're not tying me up yet.
No,
I'm not tying you up yet.
Arrester is having a mini panic attack.
She does that spell, I stab at her with a dagger and then I run towards Erisa.
What do I roll for this?
Well, I roll something against your AC. How do daggers work? I don't use these things enough.
I know it's just
So he's
attacking another member of your party. Is this how he normally acts?
Yeah. There's been a few stabbings recently.
No, awkwardly no comments.
I was sitting in the tree and you guys were having your tussle on the ground with the tiefling.
Yeah.
Do you know close enough to interfere with this?
In fact, my AC is 12, so I don't know how you do this.
I rolled 16, so I hit with a dagger unless 40.
But do you hit my hand or my face? I'm trying to get a...
You put your hand in front of me to do the magic, so I literally just put out, punch next to you with a dagger, so that the dagger would, hit you in the side of your wrist, kind of thing.
Okay, Legend Master, so is that what happened?
Or does Verti get a chance to actually interfere with this?
Can I use the reaction?
Yes.
Mostly
because he's drunk.
Shoving my shield in the way.
Yeah?
So he actually rolls at a disadvantage.
Okay.
Nice.
And also you'll have Navigate in front of you as well, Varric, which may make you recoil a little too, so definitely a disadvantage on that one.
You know what? I think with Navigate and the fire there, Varric would actually not, he would recoil enough that I'll just take a miss on this one.
Okay. Varric, you do notice, even though you're slightly drunk, that Arissa looks slightly distressed at this point as well.
That's why I, after going for this move, I drop my dagger and I run towards Arissa.
Can you actually run right now?
Drunks can run. I mean, I've run.
I was going to look at Mark and say, you need to grow the fuck up and stop being such a childish fucking drunk. You're causing a scene. I've basically caused this place just indiscriminate. Stop causing issues.
I'll flip him off and run towards Arissa. Oh, you know what? I'll ignore what he says, just entirely ignoring, because Arissa is slightly having a panic attack thing.
Okay, cool. So Arissa, you've now got a Varric in front of you. Arissa looks like she's having a mini panic attack. She's a bit distressed at the moment.
Can I use cantrip on her? Cantrip. It's that spell that makes people fall asleep. Catnap, yeah.
Sure, you can use that one. I will let Varric and Arissa potentially have a quick conversation first. So, Varric, did you want to ask Arissa anything?
I'm sorry. Are you okay? I'm sorry. We shouldn't have heard that. I'm sorry.
Just looks at you, big wide eyes. You seen him too?
I know what happened.
How you're still here?
I know. It's complicated. How do I explain this? I messed something up back in the forest when I saved Rido. Back when I apparently interfered with whatever was happening with Rido and that Snafu dude. Something happened and apparently there was another me, and he died. And I'm so sorry.
Actually, can I step trip on both of them? I think they both could use a nap.
Thank you.
Doesn't last very long, but
How long does it last for?
just put this thing down. Okay, 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah. In which case, Varric and Arissa, with this intriguing and slightly alarming piece of information between the two of you, you drift off into a doze for 10 or so minutes. I'm going to say to the rest of you, what would you like to do next? What would you like to discuss? You've still got a fair chunk of late afternoon, evening left after all your excursions in the market and then going down to do some torturing. I'd say it's getting on to early evening, so you've got some decisions about what you want to do and where you want to go.
I would be very interested to obviously find Sharp and Rot himself, but perhaps get the lay of the city a bit more, see what people think of the king and the royals. I'm interested into the late queen as well.
I think we need to know a lot more about the city and what's going on. And at the very least, we've got 2 people that now need to have a good rest.
Rosie, does this count as a rest for my spells?
Nice try.
For 10 minutes, you can get back a quarter of a spell. Yeah.
Damn it.
Do we need to get lodgings for tonight if we go out, do you think?
Well, for those that want to do a bit of nighttime sleeping, if that's what they desire, I reckon they should do that, but the rest of us are probably going to need the nap, and I'm not letting these two out of our sight.
Yeah. Rosie, are the companions still upstairs?
Yes, there are quite a few. There's a few gentlemen and ladies who are going upstairs and disappearing, but there's always a fair throng of companions who are on the balcony.
Cool. I'm going to kind of only just remember what Noel was saying downstairs and notice companions and start getting angry again.
Ah, okay. One of the companions sort of notices you giving her a funny look and does a very small sort of smile, and then looks away when she doesn't get a smile back and carries on a conversation she's having with 2 companions near her.
Just to be sure, Kill, you're human, right?
No.
No.
No? What is he? Can I know what he is? Or?
What do you appear like, Felicia?
I'm
an elf.
I'm an elf, but I'm a specific kind of elf.
Because he has to be special.
Okay. It's special.
Yes, Mama always told him you were special.
I
okay.
respond to that as I'm not anyone's brother.
I will reply to the Theratas in chat if you guys want to keep doing your actual conversation.
So we keep on writing?
Yeah, they run a brothel and hosted the party, and they're the ones who collect all the children in Sharping Rot. They're horrific, all of them. I would quite like to go and talk to them, but I'm worried about making a scene. Can somebody come with me to make sure that I don't get too angry?
Just stab him. I mean, that's out-game me, because in-game me is still asleep.
In-game Varric goes, Sam!
It would probably more be a panicky, nightmare-fueled sleep where he's constantly worried about Arissa hurting. To be fair, considering the state of mind when he fell asleep.
I'm going to start walking up the spiral staircase towards the companions.
Okay. Is anyone going with her?
The Theratas are followed, but he'd be sort of be keeping one eye on the elf and the human passed out at the table.
Nobody bothered to catch us.
Okay.
I'm going to go up to one of the companion girls.
Okay, so in total we've got Apricity, Kalosia, the Theratas. You're all going up?
Yeah.
We're going to be on like a balcony where we can still see
So
everything.
you're leaving Redo and Hannibal to guard the sleeping people. Excellent. What an
Because that's the
excellent.
scene where
Okay.
That's alright.
That's totally safe. It's fine. You can still see them. What could possibly go wrong? Alright, so you approach. There are 3 companions on the hallway at the moment. There's one with dark reddy hair, one with blonder hair, and one with darker hair. They're all wearing the long lavender, almost sheer robes. They're all a similar height. They're all half-elven, beautiful women. Not that there's no distinction between them, but in terms of which one you wanted to pick to speak to, who would you like?
I would like to address that group, if I may. Are they in conversation with other people?
There's no one else up there at the moment, no. You see one man disappearing with a companion just into a room down the corridor, but other than that, they had turned back to each other, and then noticing you come up the stairs, they turned sort of ready to have a conversation with you.
I'm going to try and be sweet on the surface, but underneath I'm absolutely fuming.
I'm going to try and
I'm going to try and get one onto the balcony.
You're going to try and what?
I'm going to take one on top and get over to the balcony.
It's a very thin, like, balcony corridor, so it's not going to be difficult. What do you mean, over the balcony?
Go out to the balcony now, so
It isn't out of sight. The balcony's overlooking the room downstairs. You can...
There's like a bit more kind of thing.
Yeah. You can go into one of the rooms, you can carry on, there's a corridor that goes off. You'd have to ask one of the companions to go with you if you want to go around that corridor.
I'll do that.
I'll do that.
Okay. Which one do you want? Red hair, blonde, or dark hair?
Don't care.
Don't care.
Okay, the blonde one goes with you, and as you're going around the corner, she's going to start asking what you would be interested in. Meanwhile, you guys are stood with the dark redhead and the dark haired companions. So what would you guys like to be saying?
I'd like to bid them a good afternoon and ask if they know where Sharpen Rot might be right now in the city.
Okay. You shoot each other a sideways look, and the dark-haired one speaks first, and she says,
Well, we cannot be sure if any one person's whereabouts. To hazard a guess, I would say somewhere within the castle. That's where he tends to reside. Being a member of the Royal Council, he has chambers in there, but I'm sure suit his needs just fine.
And is that where you'd meet with him when he's Christian? Or is that one of your friends?
See when
See when she's down the hallway with me?
That's me to look if there's anybody around.
Okay, no, there's no one down the corridor. It's just you two. There's like some other rooms and then some stairs that go down to another corridor. It's like a load of bedrooms and boudoirs and stuff. Okay, Apricity, what were you asking her, sorry?
She said she doesn't know where it wants to be, there might be in the castle, and I said, she said that suits his needs. So I said, is that where they take, is that where they meet him when, or is that not her, it's one of her friends? Something like that.
I personally have not been involved in that, no. And as far as I'm aware, he meets people and does what he pleases in various locations. Usually I would say his chamber's in the castle, although sometimes a man such as that grows tired, impatient, likes to have variety, I suppose. Not that I would wish to speak for anybody, that's merely my guess.
And do you know what your friends do when they send them out on their missions through the city?
Oh, none of us are inclined to discuss our own clientele, but the general idea is that we procure what people desire. Sometimes it is not something we alone can provide, so we have to bring in outside help. We were just speaking earlier, there was rumour of someone who wanted a dragonborn, so of course we would enlist a willing dragonborn to partake with us in that particular event. It depends. Why do you ask?
I didn't realise that children can be considered willing in sexual deviance.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, I'm afraid I do.
Rosie?
What happens with others from your companions?
I lost the first bit. I heard others from your companions. What was the first bit?
Where can I meet others?
Okay.
Well, we mostly use Baywatch Tavern as a point of contact. If you want to meet a cross variety of us, I would recommend here. Some do hang around the castle, others occasionally dabble somewhere around the black market. Not to particularly partake ourselves, but sometimes we find clientele request to meet us down there. They like the thrill and the adventure. They tend to come back here afterwards, of course, but they like the, as I say, thrill of meeting us somewhere dark and powerful.
And do you know the names of dealt with sharp and rot? Any of your companions?
I would not feel comfortable giving out names, but I'm sure if you asked around you would find someone who would have slightly more information. I would, however, encourage you not to dig too far into it, as one, I can guarantee you there is nothing to be worried about, and two, I wouldn't want you to delve too far into a man's personal preferences. They are such stubborn creatures. They do tend to like their pride. I wouldn't want to see you hurt by delving into someone's private business.
And yes, she is knocked out. Congratulations, you got one dead hooker.
No, not dead, not dead.
Okay.
The dimension door directly into the dungeon underneath.
Oh my god. Alright, hang on.
We still have the fucking Grand Theft Auto.
No, who's making you wake up in the sex dungeon?
No, Cyril, when they're dead, they're just hookers. Okay, you dimension door right into the middle of a group of men who are cleaning up the dungeon. Enjoy that. Meanwhile, you guys, Viveritas is standing right behind the angry gnome.
Which I appreciate greatly. As I was saying to the woman, too worried about hurting pride, I'm hopefully going to be hurting a lot more that he holds dear very soon.
I can understand where you are coming from, but I would also advise caution when dealing with a man like that. And I would advise you that, as far as I'm aware, the situation is being handled.
And what do you mean by that?
Well, without giving away too many of our trade secrets, I would just say that we have his needs taken care of.
I'm not so worried about his stopping them.
Well, by all means, dig away, but those who dig too deep often find themselves buried. Okay, downstairs, Kaloja, you have slammed the door shut and melted the lock. Well, where did you appear? I thought you were appearing in the middle of the room. You're now going to move across to the door and lock it? Okay. And you're going to leave the body in the room?
No, I'm staying.
I know you're in the room, but you're leaving the body in the middle of the room. Okay. And then what do you want to do?
So
I'll
sit down.
Okay. Right. They will...
At this point, my
sword is drawn.
Oh, alright, your edgelord, calm down. Okay. Two of them are terrified, one of them is not, but one of them sort of kneels down, but is sort of like, the fuck? Two of them are quite scared, and one of them is fairly neutral, but they've all done what you said. Okay, message me the rest of what you want to do, because I have a feeling that will come up in the next bit. Alright. Are you guys... Okay, you guys are heading back downstairs to the bar. And yes, the 10 minutes are up. You guys have woken up.
Can I talk to them and they're what, on the chairs, on the floor?
Yes, there's, you guys are in sort of squishy armchairs at the moment. There's about 5 or 6 other people. They're in a couple of groups of like 2 and 3 within the tavern as well. Varric and Arissa have now woken up and can join in the conversation. Kaloja is not back yet.
Am I sober?
Can I walk up to them and lean forward and say, wakey, wakey, are you still feeling emotionally distressed?
Okay. You're sobered up a little bit, but you're sort of in the more hungover stage. You feel a bit sort of groggy as opposed to drunk now.
I ignore what she says and I eat one of the dice cherries.
Okay. Oh yeah, the dice got eggs. They're like as big as your fist. Okay. Okay. Redo is going to sit and pay attention to everything else, along with Arissa. They're paying very close attention to everything being said at the moment. So the rest of you can carry on planning your things.
Since you're ignoring me, I walk back to Priscity.
Oh, she's gone.
Okay, Apricity, you now have Hannibal, who is now gone to sit next to you.
Yeah. I look at you in amusement and also ask the same question I asked them. Are you still emotionally distressed?
I don't know, you found out about a circle of people that are kidnapping children so that a man can violate them. How do you think I feel?
Normally.
I'm just gonna roll my eyes at.
No, if you get drinks, I can always get you more, if that makes you feel better.
Excellent, I'll have a shot, please.
Wait,
I turn to the bartender. You, Carver, please give him the most perfect drink.
Oh, yes, of course, dears. I'll be right with you.
And she starts pouring out some drinks.
Shake. Thirsty. You're getting a roofie shake.
That sounds dreadful.
It's one of those pills that the companions use.
Before they take all your money.
Is Arisa near us, by the way? Arisa, are you near us?
I'm just gonna put it out there that right now Christy should be really fucking glad that she doesn't look like a kid anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Dangerous thing to look like when you're in Laylee.
Yeah.
Especially as pretty as you are pretending to be.
I'll growl at Bertie as he walks closer.
I get growls. Where's this loyalty?
Well, this loyalty is hidden behind a layer of fucking hangover.
Fair enough.
I mean, he'd still agree with you if you, like, proposed an idea or something, but he's also fucking hangover. And it's Eric. He does not like being hungover.
That's alright, you're going to find your dagger held out to you.
I shall look at you very, very confused.
Can you please refrain from stabbing people in the party? It's starting to become a habit.
I shall only stab people when they deserve it.
Sounds like a fair deal.
Varric, I think we need to teach you your right from hers.
Oh yeah, there's about right and wrong.
Yes.
I was thinking that maybe I should have a conversation about alignments with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Considering the direction that this Varric is going right now.
Okay, we will have a conversation about that later, not a problem. Meanwhile, sorry, was either with Veritas or someone who was starting to speak when I interrupted that, sorry.
No, it's alright. Fetish is also just going to turn around to both Arisa and Varric and go, I believe you both were speaking about some stuff before interruptions that...
Oh yeah, they don't know what happened to them. You can tell.
I think need a little bit further explanation. I heard something about two Varrics and earlier.
That's nothing.
And tentacles into the sky.
I'll look at Arisa before I reply to that one.
Roll inside and that.
We don't ask about the tentacles. Just drink and having.
And yet you've both been having these dreams.
No, I haven't had any dreams.
About them.
I mean, I've only had... No. That's literally how he says it, by the way.
Can I walk to one of the drunks and start poking them?
One of the drunks being?
I don't know, whatever the dungeon master decides.
No, but what drunks do you mean?
There's some, we're still inside the tavern, right? So there must be drunks sleeping away somewhere.
There's at least one of them that didn't really know what to do about having your flare up and that.
Oh yeah, the one just rubbing his eyes. Is he still here?
Probably.
But yeah, I'd look at Arisa before saying anything about dreams or anything. Taking through notes.
Are there possibilities to me picking the drink, Dungeon Master?
Maybe. What are you thinking of doing?
Oh, is he human? I need to know the species.
It's of course he's human.
Which one are you looking at?
The one that was kind of confused about a pretty size changing thing.
Okay, yeah, everyone else in here apart from the party is human.
Okay,
apart from the companions are half elf. Every other, like, all the patrons are human. The companions are half elf.
The hell? It's too many ships. But can I try poking them with my finger, and when that does, can I stab them with my needle on the shoulder?
Which one are you poking? Sorry, your Joker.
The early one that was kind of confused by a precision changing sizes.
Okay. Yes.
Oh, before that, I look at Glenn and say the movement. Well, you need to make them talk about their dreams. Back in Inferno, back at home in Inferno. So yes, Glenn, I can understand what you're. And you have to force the dreams out. You have to force them to tell you. You can just ask. And now I stab the guy with a needle.
Okay. Ah! What? What do you want? What?
Your color, it's red. I've never seen such brightness from a skin of a human. How does it happen? Can I kill a little bit?
No, thanks. No, thanks. Just gonna go back to my drink here, and if you would like to just return to your drinks and your friends as well, that would be fine by me. Thanks. Yeah.
I felt a little in disappointment, but I just shrugged and go back to my group. Oh well, I can always strike in your sleep.
What? And he sort of half hears what you say, but doesn't quite hear as you walk back. He's not drunk himself, but he's got like he's got a tankard in his hand.
Whilst sat at the table, I'm going to talk to whoever else is there, most of the party, I think, and say, I think we should spend our afternoon trying to find the Dusty Bellows. I need more answers.
It's closing, yeah?
I don't know.
He reappears, actually. He reappears and rejoins you. He, are you leaving the gold up here? Or downstairs?
On the table.
Up here?
At the
Or
bar.
downstairs?
Yeah.
Right, thank you. So the bar. He dumps a big sack of gold onto the bar, nods to Tabitha, who says, "Oh, thank you, dear." And he comes over to rejoin you, and he has like a lot of dark blood on him.
Nice.
Seems like a fun time.
I'm going to raise my eyebrow.
Wait, who came here? Sorry? Who is the
Delusional.
Oh, okay.
Covered in blood.
I'm going to raise my eyebrows at him and say, I thought you told Varric not to make us stand out anymore. Do you want to clean yourself down by any chance?
No, he's just into this. I ain't drunk. No one's gonna question me.
Where did you go?
Back downstairs.
Back downstairs.
Oh, have fun?
I'm currently waiting for two people to come upstairs.
Did you find anything out that would be useful to us? Or have you just been down there having fun?
I'm sending
a message.
So, the rest of you guys, you want to try and find the Dusty Bellows, yes?
I do.
Okay. So, it's early in the evening still, so you've still got a decent chunk of time if you want to do that this evening.
The sooner the better. I mean, I have a few things that I want to buy. Oh, if we do happen to come across the market while going there, is there someone I can sell my daggers to?
There may be.
Because I have daggers and a quarterstaff that I want to sell.
The quarterstaff would probably be difficult, because of the no magic policy that you're aware of.
Yeah, but it's not a magical thing. It's more like a walking stick kind of.
Oh, okay. In which case, potentially yes. There may be somewhere. Put the daggers on eBay.
I have a better idea. I have a better idea now that I'm really loyal to Verti. Is it possible to use a dagger and sharpen the quarterstaff into a lance?
Yes.
I want to make a lance and give it to Verti.
Okay, awesome. It will take you sort of most of an evening to do that. So, what do you guys think? Do you want to go off and search for the Dusty Bellows now? Do you want to take a rest and then go? Basically, the next time you take a rest, Varric, you can do this.
Okay, I'll add it to the next rest then, and I'll also hand it to Verti in the next rest.
Okay, cool.
Or after the next rest then.
Okay, you write that as well. I will write it down too.
It's in my notes.
Okay, cool. So, next rest. So yeah,
Is
what did you want to do this evening then, you guys?
I think we're having fun annoying the gnome with an infernal conversation. So my right arm is visibly quite toasted.
Yes.
I'm going to notice Apricity as well and go, just talking about some of the things that we've been asked to, and I'm going to gesture at the tattoo on the wrist.
You know what?
It's not
Yes?
openly spoken.
I'll start carving it a little bit now, like in the middle of the tavern.
Okay, well, you're talking. You can finish it off
waiting
during
for
your next
the
rest.
train
Yeah,
out.
that's fine. I'm going to say we're going to have another sort of 15-20 minutes or so of in-game time. So, you guys want to find the Dusty Bellows. How would you like to go about that? Do you want to like just go out and ask people, or have you got some sort of other tactical plan for that?
Varric, you looked at a map and you know it, don't you?
Yeah.
Did you get a sense of which end of town was like the Scuddy end of town?
Rosie, did I get a sense of which end is the end of town?
Say that again.
I looked at that map of the city beforehand, like when we just had entered the city, and I asked the guard about some notable places so that I could remember those. Do I know which end is like the end that they would normally want to avoid?
Okay. You're not aware of it yet, but you think it would be fairly easy to spot. As you walked through and you saw the market, you did see streets that led off to potentially areas that are less savoury, for want of a better word, and you feel like... Hang on. Can you hear my dog snoring?
Yes.
I currently have my arm stuck by my cat. I can't move it, so I'm trying to move him.
Yeah, the dog is snoring on the now dead and disintegrated NPC, so, yeah. But yeah, so Varric, you don't know, you couldn't pinpoint a place, but it would be very easy to go back, like, retrace your steps, like, through the market and places and find it.
Okay, I'll do that. And then on the way there, well, at the market, I'll try to sell one of my daggers.
Okay, the market right now will be shut because it's going to be getting on to the later part of the evening. Like, there might be still some food stalls and things, but the people who are selling and buying will be shut. But they'll still be there the next morning. And potentially, you could try and sell it in the black market if you find it.
Okay, but in that case, I'll steal some food while going towards the shadier area of town.
Okay, roll me a sleight of hand, please.
This was bound to happen sooner or later. That's an 8.
Okay. You managed to steal, like, the tiniest donut from, like, the bottom of, like, a pyramid of donuts. You managed to steal, like, one tiny little one with your little finger and, like, pop it in your mouth and just sort of chew on it as you walk down the road. Like, it's very nice, but it was just a very little bite-sized, yes, donut.
I'll just go,
While this is happening, are we still in the tavern, or...?
You guys are now heading off. Varric, are you going alone, or was you taking everyone with you and you're all going to sort of follow Varric to try and find the slummier area, should we say?
I'm honestly not sure if people are following me, but I sort of assume that these people will not leave me alone for a while.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. So for now, I'll say that...
Kalasia stealthed off.
Yes, he did.
Yes, Kalasia has gone off. Are you going to say anything to him before you disappear? He's not, like, trying to disappear so you can't see him, but...
I'll ask him, before he leaves, I would like to ask him where would you recommend searching before the Dusty Bellows.
And I ignore him.
He's helpful. From what you gathered
Sorry.
From what you gathered from now, Dusty Guy, the poorer end, basically, but yes. And please tell us more things, Felicity.
Sorry, I was just going to say, I see just start leaving, be safe. No, I'm going to try and stop him. What is it?
As we're walking away, I'm going to just mention to the rest of the party, we will probably want to put as much distance between us and that tavern for a while as we possibly can.
We can't set it on fire.
No, not needed.
Okay. So, Varric, can you roll me a perception check? Anyone else who's looking out for the Dusty Bellows, can you also roll me a perception check? Yes, when in doubt, it will always be more on fire.
Where did the perception dice go? It's like disappeared. I rolled 12.
Alright, well, Varric has most definitely spotted it, and you guys can spot it alongside him and follow him.
I shall reply to Verti.
Okay.
What's the plan there? In Elvish.
Closure did what an assassin normally does when they want to draw out someone. They left a rather messy message.
Okay.
And the sharp and rot's not looking yet. They will be soon. So I'm assuming that gets understood by at least Tanabel, Regan, and Varric. I don't know about Orissa.
Indeed.
Orissa speaks about 9 million languages, right? She's a bard.
I don't know if English is one of them. I think I tried that early on.
Orissa's just awesome.
Fair, I'm very fully agree with that sentiment.
Okay. Well, you guys notice the Dusty Bellows. It's in a darker side street as you get towards the shabbier end of town. It's not quite slumming it. It's just out of the way and dark. A lot of the houses have got like boarded up windows. There's not a lot of light leading down this alley. You yes.
Sorry.
That's alright. I'm just sort of thinking.
Is it in a tavern?
Yes.
Okay.
It has a swinging sign outside that says Dusty Bellows in sort of black chipped writing. And actually, as you guys approach it, there's a man who is walking. He looks a little drunk. You all instinctively sort of move to the side as he sort of totters past you. He's wearing quite fancy robes, but he's got his shoes are coming off his feet, and he has like a messy tangle of hair, and he's quite dirty, and he's sort of babbling. He takes the copper and sort of looks at it. And it falls out of his hand, and he sort of keeps walking slowly. Varric, because you hands him the copper, can you roll me a perception check, Varric, because you were close enough to try and understand what he was saying?
17 plus 7 is 24.
Okay, cool. Orissa, could you please do a perception check with advantage as well, if you can hears me? Could someone type it to her as well, just in case? Meanwhile, Varric, you can, based on that, hear a little bit, and you hear him, part of his mumbling, he's saying, "Lost my mind. Lost my mind. Who am I? Who am I? Who we? What? Oh." And he sort of staggers off sort of further down the street. Orissa, you instinctively flick the goggles down and back up again, and you notice that he had like a little bit of dust of the gold and silver variety that sort of sparkled off his shoulders. He wasn't coated in it. It looked as if he might have been in the air and some of it had caught on his clothing. So it seems like he had been in a place where the dust was, and actually you can see specks of it floating in the air around this tavern as well. And okays. So are you going in?
Yep.
Alrighty, you're going in. Alright, so
And I follow.
everyone follows. Alright,
Yep.
so going inside the Dusty Bellies. The door creaks on its big hinges, and you walk inside a dark, dank, dusty, smelling, almost hovel of a room. It's long and narrow, with no comfy seats. It's all tables and chairs, and there looks to be like little gatherings of people. No one sits here on their own. Everyone is in a group. Nobody seems very drunk. They're having drinks, but nobody is fighting and laughing. There's all hushed conversation, whispers and murmurs and muttering. Occasionally, some angry sort of shouts come between people, who then get silenced by their fellows. Oh! And you can see 3 men who are sort of stood leaning by the bar, who are sort of surveying the room. And given you guys' experience, you guys can tell these are probably the owners, the people who run it. One of them is very tall and skinny with long greasy hair. One of them is quite fat and stocky with a pork pie style hat on. And one of them is huge, big, broad shoulders, missing teeth and smoking a foul-smelling pipe leaning on the very far end of the bar. As you guys walk in, several people, including the 3 men at the bar, look up and survey the party as you enter the room. The door closes behind you, and people slowly turn as you walk further into the room. The closest seats, which are free, are further down the other end, so you have to almost walk down an aisle of eyes, people sort of staring, looking at you as you walk further in.
I'll drop another divine sense while I'm here. See if I feel anything really evil or anything really holy, although that seems highly freaking unlikely in here.
Been that they've stolen holy symbols.
Okay. You don't sense anything outright evil. You certainly don't sense anything outright holy, other than the slight tinge of it on Varric and Orissa.
And of course, specifically also the pipes that I'm wearing.
Yep. So just the normal.
Just the normal.
Just my usual tint of evil.
Just your usual slight tint of evil, yes. So yeah, what did you guys want to do? I will let you have a decide of what you would like to get up to, and then we will close the session based on that decision.
Well, I think I'd like to find a certain guild, but I'm not entirely sure how.
Varric walks into the middle of the room. Is any of you in a Thieves Guild? Thieves Guild? Anyone? Thieves Guild? Guild? Anyone? Anyone? Thieves Guild?
Catharsis is also going to call out Chrisity and Orissa because he needs to get them up to date on what happened at the previous tavern.
But Verity is closing in on Orissa. In that case, I'll wait with my plans to talk to the owner. So I'll keep an eye on Verity.
Basically, he'll lead them and anyone who's willing to follow him to the nearest table that gives the religious bit of privacy.
In here, privacy is going to be tricky. As you guys go to sit down, there is like a sort of bench table that you guys can all squeeze around. There's a few tables close by, but most people seem to be engrossed in their own groups. Once you guys have all walked in and everyone's had a good look at you, they all seem to slowly turn back to each other and have their own conversations. Occasionally an eye will shiftily glance in your direction, but it just seems to be because you're newcomers. No one's approached you yet. It seems if you want drinks, you're going to have to go up and order them at the bar by yourself. But you can have a conversation on this table for now. So what would you like to talk about?
Oh shit. Wait 1 second.
Yep.
You still don't know a lot about me, just putting that out there. You want to ask anything?
Okay, yeah, no, that would be an issue.
What's going to be an issue?
Well, I was thinking a silence spell would give us privacy. But it's impossible to talk within a silence spell.
You have too much privacy then, that's your problem.
Wait, that would mess up something that happened this session. Kalosia cancelled a silence spell on the dungeon that we...
It was a very
specific.
Oh, he had a silent spell on the door so that nobody could hear anything coming from inside.
Okay, so in that case, would it be possible to cast the silent spell around us instead of on top of us?
Potentially. Roll me a d20 with your spell modifier, and if you roll it high enough, I'll say yes, you can sort of control it. If not, you guys are forced into stony silence for the next few minutes.
It's concentration, if not,
that's alright then.
silence. If not, I could probably drop concentration.
That's okay, you can drop the concentration, but you can, try it. See how high you roll, and then if you roll high enough, then I'll say you can control it, why not?
Is that my wisdom modifier plus my proficiency bonus?
It should be, if wisdom's what you cast your spells with, it should be an 8 plus your no, that's to make it, sorry, it'll just be your d20 plus your proficiency in your spell, so wisdom,
Okay, so that would be plus 7 then, so that would be 19.
Okay, I'm going to say with that you can cast it around you guys in a sort of general shielding sort of motion, so people can't really overhear you. You would know that to them you're going to seem silent, so it would be advisable not to seem like you're shouting or talking very loudly, or they will clearly notice something's afoot. But you guys would notice this as he did it.
So it's also the first thing I mentioned.
Yeah, so as soon as he mentions that, I'm going to turn around and, speaking in common this time, bring everyone up to speed with what I told the elves, which was that Kalosia basically took the companion that he had kidnapped and basically left a very, very messy message directed at Sharpen Rock. And that's what the drive payment on the table was, and that he's now off to try and find the family with the kid and take them to the Thieves Guild and hide him.
Okay.
My mouth drops when he mentions the Thieves Guild. like a full-on double take. Why would he do that?
Because Rock will go after them otherwise.
And where would he find the Thieves Guild then?
Well, he obviously knows where they are.
Yeah, but where?
I wasn't paying too much attention, but I believe he told Prissy.
I just said
there was a number of Thieves Guild assassins going somewhere.
Damn it. That would have saved me a lot of embarrassment trying to be solo, which I had already can't, so Varric is technically... It's technically impossible for Varric to be solo, seeing as I can't.
Okay, so what is your plan then, guys? I will say make a plan for what you would like to do, and then we can put that in the notes, and that will be what begins next session, so you don't have to do too much planning at the head of next session.
I would love to try and, well, seeing as this is the place where we would start finding the black market, I would love to try and actually, find the black market, find like people to buy and sell stuff.
Yeah, I've got a bit of a shopping list going on for black market purchases. Yeah, Annabelle would love to be able to get some body parts.
Okay.
You always go
back to the town.
You're all interesting enough there.
Whereas left, there's plenty of quality parts.
Okay. So you guys are in the right place. You found the Dusty Bellows. This is where you can find a way to get to the black market, and Orissa will also notice as well, because she'll sort of flick the goggles every now and then. There is dust in the air here, inside the tavern too. like it's thicker inside as well, so you know you're in the right place because the shard that is going to be in the black market somewhere, you think, is leaving a dust trail that people have been near and it's come back up, so you're definitely in the right place. So for the end of this session, I will say that you're sitting in the early evening hours in a very grotty, very dodgy tavern, readying yourselves to try and work out how on earth you're going to get into the potentially dangerous black market of Leyland. And I will also get you all to roll me one final dexterity check, please.
Ooh. That's the D20, right?
Yes, with your dex.
D20 plus dexterity modifier.
Yes.
Is it a check or a save?
Just a check for now.
In that case, it's only 24.
I got an 11, so...
Okay, I'll tell you the effect once everyone's chucked their rolls in.
Do I add my dexterity points?
Yes.
The modifier.
The modifier, so not the big number, the smaller number.
Oh, so the plus one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ooh, that was a really, really good use of a birthday advantage.
Yeah.
Aha! Excellent.
I'm making a note. I've got 4 left.
That's okay. Well, I figured because you didn't end up needing to use them for the torture because you had other ways around it, so I'm going to say it's fair to keep them. Roll them over to the next session, so you've got 4 left. Okay, so everybody except for Hannibal and the Theritas. I'm going to say Redo passes this because she's so stubborn she'd be fine. Everybody else, once again, similar to in the market, you feel the ground start to shake. The people in this room look up, a couple of people, they hold on to their drinks, they hold on to their chairs, the ground starts to shake, and the tavern shakes, the ground shakes, the earth shakes, and there's a rumbling, almost as if something underneath is like moving and going do 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 do. Hannibal and the Theritas, you tip backwards in your chairs, but manage to catch yourselves before you land on the floor, and whoa, tip back upwards again. Everyone else manages to stay seated. Apricity the gnome actually manages to like sit cross-legged on the bench and sort of rock with the shaking of the earth and sort of go, hey!
Of course.
Okay, so yeah, you've all survived that final earthquake. Lots of jangling armor. Ting, 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 out, ting, out, ting, 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 ting.
No one else in the pub could hear.
Yeah. Which is why it's good that none of you fell over, because someone falling over silently would have caused mass confusion. However...
No, Posey. It's a concentration spell. The earthquake would have shattered that.
No, that is very true. So you're no longer silent, so that's fine. So I will say yes, we'll pick up next session. You are in the Dusty Bellows, ready to attempt to find your way into the black underground market of Leyland, searching for dust, shards, and potentially other dangerous things. Some blood on your conscience. Some. And I will leave it there. I will, after the stream, I will stay for 5 minutes and I'll round up your XP for you, alright? So for now, I'm going to shout goodbye to the recording. If everyone wants to shout goodbye as well.
Bye.
Bye.